will look to put a week of controversy behind them and focus back on returning into the AFL's top 8 as they host GWS from the MCG. Jordan Ngoe won't be there for the Magpies, taking personal leave after his Bali break, as 20-year-old Isaac Chugg will make his debut. Collingwood have won their past 4, including against last year's premiers Melbourne, Carlton and Freo before the bye. Can the Pies keep the winning momentum going? Meanwhile, the Giants have shown new intent to score under caretaker coach Mark McVeigh, having won 2 of their 4 matches around the bye. His 4 games in charge are in the top 10 highest scores since the elimination final in 2019. Of course, the Giants broke Collingwood Hearts back in 2019 in the preliminary final. They'd love to throw another spanner in the works in the Magpie rise with Toby Green, fresh off 7 goals last week. It's round 15 of the AFL, Collingwood and GWS on Grandstand AFL. Hello, welcome to the MCG. Matt Clinch with you for Grandstand and ABC Sport. Great to hear so many of you on the Footy Forum. Corbin Middlemaster to call the action alongside me. Welcome, Corby.
Thanks, Clinchy. Can't wait for today. There should be so much optimism around Collingwood. The last time we watched Collingwood play here at the MCG, they scored a famous come-from-behind victory against the reigning premiers in Melbourne. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 6 of their last 8. If they win today, they move into 7th spot on the premiership table. So a huge opportunity that sits in front of them. And without even having played a game, there's been an absolute dumpster fire outside the front of their facilities down at the Glass House. The Jordan Ngoe situation, how much of a distraction has that been? They play a bottom 10 team today who have sacked their coach. They just got to come here and take care of business today and put all of that behind them. But as we know in footy, it's a funny industry, and it's easier said than done when all of that's swirling around in the background. So we get to see Collingwood live it over the next 2 hours here today. There's
no late changes for either side. So Trey Rusco, the sub for the Magpies, and Callum Brown for GWS, the sub for the Giants. Shortly, assistant coach Stevie Johnson's about to join us, and we'll hear from the Collingwood footy boss Graham Wright before the opening bounce. Mark Murphy's here on a Sunday afternoon. Great to see you, Murph.
Clinchy, good to be here, mate.
What are you expecting today?
I'm expecting Collingwood to come out and get the job done, but it's not going to be easy. The Giants are playing a more attacking brand of football and scoring really heavily, but they're probably getting opened up, probably even more so than what they had been under Leon Cameron. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an attacking style that we'll see again from the Giants, and I've really enjoyed watching Collingwood this year. Their pressure around the ball has been a real noticeable positive of their game style, and they've got some players who are playing some really good football at the moment, and it's a game where they should take care of business, but there's not too many games in the competition these days which are gimmies, and the Giants certainly aren't one of those.
Absolutely not. And alongside Mark Murphy, great to have Brad Sewell back with us. Sully, lovely to see you.
Hello, gents. It's good to be here. Sunday afternoon. There's a little bit of drizzle coming in down here at the MCG. Not quite sure. Well, I think probably Collingwood, those conditions. A bit, the wet might favour their style of play, but I mean, haven't they had a torrid week? I bet they could not wait to get out here and just put all of that rubbish that they've been dealing with all week, something that you don't want to be dealing with after a bye, but as soon as that ball bounces, that will be long forgotten for the Pies.
So I'm sure the players aren't running around today or warming up thinking, I wonder what Jordan Ngoe is doing. I'm sure it's not sort of in their minds, sort of the front of their mind like that, but is there a cumulative effect that during the week, the energy that you spend worrying about that, surely at a certain point you've only got so much to give?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the amount of questions the players themselves would have had amongst each other, the leadership group, the conversations with the coaches, their friends and family asking about Ngoe, what sort of a bloke is he, what's happened, why the club allowed it to occur again. It does have an accumulative effect, and the energy kind of gets sapped out of you a little bit after a little while. Murph, do you tend to agree?
Let's come back to the Collingwood side of it, because we might start in the Giants. Steve Johnson's been good enough to come and join us. Jess Webster's down on the boundary for us this afternoon. Jess, welcome to you.
Thanks, Clinchy, and thanks, Steve, for joining us pre-game. You're taking on a really informed Collingwood team here at the MCG. The boys up for the challenge?
Yeah, certainly. It's a good challenge. They're in great form, Collingwood, obviously. We don't get to play at the MCG too often, so our boys are really excited by that chance.
And you're managing to hit the scoreboard really well in recent weeks, but perhaps maybe conceding a few too many the other way. Has defence been the number one focus during the week?
Yeah, probably it's been one of the main focuses. Certainly we need to be strong around the contest today, which we've let ourselves down in previous weeks as well. As you said, the attack has been going in the right way. We've been scoring quite nicely, but certainly conceding too much of a score. So the conditions may help with that today, but we really need to challenge our players to be better in that area and hopefully keep Collingwood sort of under 80 points if we want to win the game.
Steve Johnson with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs to the box to our experts Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell.
Stevie, Sully, mate, good to chat. Now, you tipped Geelong into a week of turmoil, jumping the fence down there in Torquay, busting your ankle.
Hey, why are we coming back to this, Sully? That's a long time ago.
There's been a lot about Jordan De Goey and how is he feeling, and I mean, how did you deal with that? And do you have any advice for De Goey and how it might help him get through this period for him?
Not really. It was a long time ago, Sully, but I guess that was the opportunity for me to really turn it around and have a really professional approach towards my footy. I didn't have another choice because I probably would have been let go by the club. So I was on my last legs just really turned into a professional player from that point in time, and it's funny that your footy seems to be better off for it.
Yeah, I reckon you turned out okay. There's still hope for him yet. Toby Green just continues to go from strength to strength. Do you think he'll get a bit more attention today? He's got a great rivalry with Maynard.
Well, I think the attention he gets is every week because opposition teams see him as the most dangerous player in our lineup, and he sort of doesn't worry him too much, doesn't faze him. The opposition send their best defensive player, and he just comes and brings a huge work rate to the ground every single week. He's obviously a competitive beast that's so strong in the contest, but equally as good, with his work rate to be able to get away from his opponent. So no doubt they'll be looking to support whoever he's on, so he can't be taking those marks inside 50. He loves coming to the MCG and we're looking forward to playing well again today.
Stevie Murphy, mate. Phil Davis back into the side, obviously huge in terms of leadership and organisation down there in the back line. Is Harry Hillenberg going to play alongside him down back, or is he going to play up forward today?
I'll have to wait and see, Murph.
Yeah, I thought that would be the answer.
Well, that's the good thing about Harry. We know we can swing him around. We can even play him up on the wing at times. So it's been great that he's been able to go down into defence, and he's sort of really helped with our ball movement out of there. He's obviously a great kick. He was our leading goal kicker before we actually sent him back. So it's good that we've got that flexibility with him. But Phil back into the team, as you said, he brings leadership and organisation to our back line, which is we've probably, as we touched on, conceding too many scores in recent weeks.
So judging by that response, you probably want Harry back up forward then in your neck of the woods?
Well, I just want what's best for the team. He actually, he can kick goals, we know that, but he also creates so many, and he can intercept back in our defence and give us a really, really quick rebound off the back line. So I think you'll see him at both ends of the ground at some stage today.
Geez, you've changed, Stevie, since you were a player. You're giving all the right coaches' answers. So how much, when you're playing a game like you did last week against the Western Bulldogs, bet you're on the wrong side of it, a high-scoring affair, do you get the players back in and focus on the defensive elements, and is that where Phil Davis might help, or do you kind of back in your style that if you can score as freely as what you did, you'll try and win more games in the second half of the season?
Yeah, well, I think in the first part of the season we were conceding scores, but we weren't necessarily hitting the scoreboard ourselves. So we really wanted to open up, our attack and take the game on a bit more. When Mark took over, and that's been heading in the right direction. But certainly we want to stop conceding the scores that we are. So the focus really was today is going to be really important in the contest, where we've been one of the better teams in recent years around that area. We've been getting beaten in that area, but defensively we still back our system, but we've got to get back and support our defenders a little bit more. So it's just that work rate. We want to work hard when we get the ball, but equally as hard to get back and support our 6 defenders back there to restrict those easy opportunities that we've been giving away.
Steve, there's been a lot of talk about the former Essendon guys coming in Dean Solomon and James Hird to support Mark McVeigh, obviously, is the caretaker coach. James, in particular, obviously back in footy, he's a huge figure in the history of the game. What has he brought? How hands-on is he, and what have you sort of experienced by having him around?
Well, he's been sort of looking after a bit of our leadership stuff. So it's he zooms into our leadership group on a Monday morning and just offers that support around them. And he's obviously a very experienced football person, as you mentioned, and sort of on game day, it's more about just sitting in the box and and relaying messages to the bench from either the head coach or the assistant coaches down to the bench to get messages across. And obviously he's got that that good football now, so that if there's any ideas that he can come up with which might help, I always happy to sort of put them forward as well.
Does he have a lot to say in the box?
A little bit, yeah. I think last week he was probably more vocal than I've heard him in previous weeks. I think he's enjoying. It's only a really part-time gig that he's got with us, but I think he's enjoying being back around football. And if you look at him now, he's out in the ground, just stud passes into Jesse Hogan. He just loves getting out there and having a kick of the footy.
He's got the same hairdo that he's rolling with as well, James.
Yeah, and I've noticed he still licks the fingers before he marks the ball every single time. The habit just hasn't died.
I'm an Essendon fan, Steve, so I must admit that it's doing great things for me to see James back out there kicking the footy on the MCG. Might still get a game.
I actually kicked the ball in this warm-up with Toby last week, and he kicked 7, and I bought a new pair of shoes yesterday.
and
I've just realised that I'm doing an interview with you guys, so he might only kick 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, that's not good for Toby. By the way, Steve, I also noticed this morning you were on the famous Blues Handball on the Sunday Footy Show. I saw it was promoted. You were coming up against your good mate in Bill Brownless. How did you end up going?
Oh, there was a live kill. The lady, when I went into the studio, said, "Can you just put your address down in case we need to send you a prize pack if you win?" I said, "Well, I'll put the address down because it'll be when I win, because Billy can't handball." So,
which is kind of ironic considering you didn't handball much when you were playing anyway.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well, you received a lot of handballs over the top, I guess.
Well, they have to put it in the ball user's hands.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, that was a bit of fun.
Good on you, Stevie. We better let you get to Toby Green and do some warm-ups. Thanks for joining us on ABC Radio.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Steve Johnson joining us from the Giants. They're getting closer to their best side with Daniel Lloyd back in, Tim Taranto, Phil Davis. They're still missing Jacob Hopper, Harry Perryman, Braden Pruce obviously out suspended, but feels like that top-end talent is just about back at the Giants. So a good test for them this afternoon.
Yeah, it is, and I think in these conditions too, it's going to be conducive to the way in which Collingwood really want to play, so it'll be a good challenge for the Giants because they are notoriously a side who loves to use their skills and back themselves in, and today might not lend itself to that way of playing football, so they'll have to probably be a bit more dogged in the way they go about it, which will be good for us to witness, to see how they go.
And equally to be playing at MCG too. They don't get too many opportunities throughout the year, so for somebody like Toby Green, this is the home of football, so it's something that no doubt he has had in his mind this week.
So Steve Johnson has dead set walked straight out to Toby Green. So he's walked across the ground at the city end of the ground, and now just having a little kick to kick with the man who's the ultimate villain in Australian rules footy in Toby Green. So fresh off 7 last week, and now we'll have a kick to kick with the 3-time premiership.
He hasn't lost any confidence, Stevie J, has he?
No.
He said he might kick 3 or 4 now that he hasn't joined him in the warm-up.
It's a bit like the sort of Nick Moldhouse, Dale Thomas sort of relationship from Collingwood and then Carlton, and now the pair of them just in the forward pocket here having a little kick to kick at the city end.
We're about to hear from Graham Wright, the Collingwood footy manager. So just before we headed down to Stevie Johnson, you were giving us your take, Murph, as to how Collingwood might have handled the week that was, especially from a leadership side of things.
Well, there's no doubt that they would have been exhausted because as a listener on radio, I was exhausted from listening about Jordan De Goey. And there'd be certain players which would be water off a duck's back. Like Pendlebury probably wouldn't get too fussed about it, but he would have to have a lot of conversations with his playing group about focusing in on what they can control, and that's their training and their preparation for today's game. So there's no doubt that it shifts the attention away from football, which is what you don't want when you are a footballer. So you want all your energy going into playing football and training and getting each other better out in the field, not dealing with off-field issues, and an off-field issue, again, which is rearing its head for the same bloke. So there's a lot of energy and a lot of time that gets wasted, which can be quite frustrating. There'll be no doubt there'll be a lot of players who would be really frustrated about what's happened over the last couple of weeks. And if they lose today, then it sort of keeps on continuing on, doesn't it? So they play well today, win, almost knocks on the head, and then get on with just playing football again. So it's a huge game for them.
I think that was that vision of Jeremy Howe. I don't know if you guys saw that during the week. He was walking to his car and he's got cameras right alongside him and microphones put in front of his face. And essentially his answers to those questions were, you got to ask Jordan, ask him that. I haven't spoken to him. And you could tell that there was a sense of frustration there that, look, Matt, I'm just trying to walk to my car after a training session. I've got 100 questions about where Jordan De Goey is and what he's doing and if he's going to apologise. And, it sort of felt like sort of just reading between the lines that, he was a bit exhausted or a bit exacerbated by the fact that he had so many questions.
You could sense it in his voice, couldn't you? And Sully made mention of it before, because there'd be family and friends would be asking questions of the players as well. So there's just so much talk, he can't get away from it. And then just the boys getting dragged into it as well. It was just a couple of weeks from hell, wasn't it, for them?
Well, we'll get a chance to judge Collingwood on the on-field perspective today. Of course, Melbourne had their week from hell leading up to the Queen's birthday clash. Collingwood got the victory there. We'll see how the Magpies go this afternoon. Third quarter action between North Melbourne and Adelaide down in Tassie. It's a 20-point advantage the way of the Crows. 8-7-55 to the Roos there. Let's head down and join the Collingwood camp. Jess Webbs has been good enough to catch up with their footy boss, Graham Wright.
Thanks, Clinchy, and welcome, Graham. Thanks so much for your time pre-game. It hasn't been the best week for the club off the field, but you must be really looking forward to letting the football do the talking this afternoon against a quality side in GWS.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like a long time ago we're here playing Melbourne on the Monday of Queen's birthday. But, it'd be good to get going today and get back into games. 4
in a row now, including a couple of big scalps along the way. What's key to keep this momentum going?
I think it's all about preparation and making sure that we prepare properly, we train well. I mean, we've had a real correlation between training well and performing well. So the guys have been concentrating on that. We've had a good week of training, and hopefully we have a good start to the game today. I mean, it looks a bit damp and wet, but hopefully we have a good start and see where we can get to.
Yeah, and hopefully the rain stays away. Graham Wright with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs to the box.
Graham, it's Matt Clinch here. Obviously, the Jordan De Goey questions at the start. So, as a club, have you had contact with him in the last couple of days, or have you left that with Craig?
I haven't had contact with him for a couple of days, but I know Craig and a few of our other coaches and players have. So he's had a lot of support from that perspective. So there's been no issue with contact with him over the last few days. And he's been away for the club this week for personal reasons. Do you have any insight as to when he might return? No, we're hoping sooner rather than later. He's missed now, obviously the 2 weeks of training. I know he's been doing some stuff, but actual training with the group he's missed a little bit. So that was as we got to Wednesday, we ruled him out of this week's game if he couldn't train Wednesday. We're certainly hopeful that he gets back in sooner rather than later. So early last week, you were hopeful that he'd still rock up and might have been able to play this week. When did you realise that wasn't going to become a reality? We always knew right from the start, to be honest, that it might be unlikely, just with the fact, obviously, he was struggling over the weekend last week and into Monday, Tuesday. So from an overall player welfare perspective, we felt he was probably going to struggle to get up, but you never quite know. And how do you handle it? Obviously, you hope he'll give you some feedback along the way that he's right to return, and Collingwood's a much better side when he's in the team. Yeah, how do we handle it? Well, what we're doing is trying to encourage him that, put the support around him first and foremost, but then encourage him to get back sooner rather than later and get going. We're certainly a better football team with him fit and available. And the media reports were that the contract has been taken off the table until season's end. Is that accurate? We don't discuss player contracting. I've had a philosophy all the way through that I don't discuss any player contracting, whether they be in contract, out of contract, or at other teams. We just don't discuss it. What I will say is, like all free agents and out of contract players, have got every opportunity to have a look, and they should explore. We haven't just made a call on where that'll go. But I think Mark Anderson spoke the other day that we'll look at that at the end of the year. But I'm in constant contact with his management, so we'll see where that goes.
Graham Wright, Collingwood footy boss on Grandstand AFL. Graham, it's Corbin Middlemass here. Obviously, a lot of the responsibility falls on, or the majority of it on Jordan De Goey as the individual. He's a 26-year-old now, so he's not a young man, but does Collingwood accept some responsibility for allowing him to go to Bali, knowing his past and the risks that a place like that would present?
That's probably fair. I certainly think that as a 26-year-old person, you've got every right to make your own decisions around where you spend your leave. We did caution that, and certainly spoke to him and his management around that. But he's a grown man, and it's a responsibility of the individual, to be honest.
There's been a lot made about his representation. As a footy boss, how have you found it dealing with Jordan and the guys, I guess, that represent him?
Yeah, I've had a fair bit to do with his manager over the last 8 or 9 months, to be honest, and all of our dealings have been fine from that perspective. So they're really respectful, and I think we all want what's best for him, and that's his manager's job, obviously, to get the best possible deal and all those sorts of things. But in the end, it's around welfare for the player as well. I think managers do a hell of a lot around their individual players and looking after them, and he certainly does that.
An awful thing we do in modern society, Graham, is we say, someone should come out and apologise for their reaction, then we all sit around and grade the apology as to whether it was appropriate or not. It looked like Jordan had plenty of remorse in the interview that he gave to the club website on Friday, but he did speak about before that about the fact that he felt persecuted by the media, which felt like a misread of the situation, and ultimately he came around and apologised. But the thing that was also fascinating about that was the amount of support that he garnered from other Collingwood players as soon as it had happened, probably not understanding the gravity of the situation, and that included not only a number of the players that are playing today, but also someone like Neville Jetta, who obviously has a coaching role at the footy club. Have you addressed that post as a group as essentially, hey guys, this is what has actually happened here, and this is how we feel about it collectively?
No, we haven't gone through it with the group or with staff or anything like that. I mean, I think, and I don't want to talk to Geordie. I think it's probably just the disproportionate nature of the media. When something happens in footy, and certainly something happens with Geordie or Collingwood. So that's I presume that's what he was referring to. We would have probably preferred that he didn't, but as an individual, he's got a right to say what he actually thinks as well. But I think the footy media is the footy media. It's not going to go away, and certainly it's not going to go lightly on individuals that might transgress it along the way.
Yeah. So do you look at them as very separate things? That the Instagram post and the incident that happened. That do you feel like that's well founded? That he is persecuted against?
Oh no, I don't know. I feel like that's the industry. So I feel like it, as I said, is disproportionate in relation to the level of scrutiny, but that's the industry. I mean, I don't think, as I said, that we can get away from that. You either don't do anything wrong or you don't play. It's basically pretty basic. So I'm not supporting that. What I'm saying is I think he's got every right to have a comment. Do we agree? Well, that's we probably don't agree in regard to that, but I think every player, every person has got a right to say what they feel.
Gay righty, Sully here, mate. Well done. I reckon you've ducked and weaved and fended those off pretty well. So we'll change tact a little bit, mate. You've been around footy for a hell of a long time now. Have you seen a more complete player than Nick Dacos come in and have the impact that he's having at the moment?
Yeah, geez, it's a good question. He's been outstanding and probably got better in the last 3 or 4 weeks, to be honest. Since we settled him down as a halfback, we were floating him in and out of the midfield as well, but being such a young player and a little bit light, I think the halfback area suits him. But no, I think the only player I can think of, Sully, that comes close might be Cyril. In the guys I've had a bit to do with, that it's just to come in and have such an impact straight away in your first year of AFL footy, and considering the fact that Nick only played, I think, 8 or 9 games over the last 2 years prior to joining us. So he's a special talent, and one we're wrapped is at our club. And
physically, he's pretty sound as well, by the sounds of it. In that his game time is reasonable by comparison to someone like Cyril for his couple of years. I mean, he was hidden in a forward pocket for much of it, but Dacos is in the cut and thrust quite a bit.
Yeah, he is, and as you said, he's an incredibly hard worker, and we noticed that as soon as he got to the club that and we probably knew that leading in, to be honest, but when you actually see him in the flesh and they work so hard on their game, and whether it be endurance, running, speed, use of the footy, all those things he's good at, but he works really hard at them.
Any footy surname, Graham, that has hard consonants in it are particularly great for sports broadcasters. So I was particularly pleased to see a lad by the name of Isaac Chugg is going to make his debut for Collingwood today. 20-year-old out of Launceston. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, really good story. I mean, rookie-listed player out of 2020, has got the ability to play as a small back, pressure forward or go through the midfield. And he's probably done a bit of forward midfield just in the last 4 or 5 weeks at VFL level. And he's a really good story. He's had humble upbringings, Tassie lad, out of Launceston and worked really, really hard. And we're rapt to give him the opportunity today. And he's deserved that, and we're hoping he performs well.
And righty, as we let you go, Braden Maynard brings up his 150th game. He's had a great record on Toby Green. It's always a mouth-watering affair. Will we see it again this afternoon?
Well, I would have thought so. There's no doubt he'll go to him at certain stages. I mean, the way the defence has moved now, as you know, it can be shared around a little bit. But I would have thought it's for a large chunk of the day. I would have thought, Maynard on Green will happen. And as you said, it's a great matchup. I mean, Toby's just a super player, and Maynard's one of the toughest defenders going around. So it should be a great contest.
And finally, as we let you go, a bit of release starting to come in the injury department. Charlie Dean, I saw played in the VFL. How's Brodie Grundy coming along?
Brodie's just overcoming COVID. I think he's back in tomorrow, so unfortunately he got COVID over the break. But he's actually able to run, and was just starting to run just prior to us having our short break. So I think he'd be sort of 5 weeks away. But I would have thought towards the end of July we'll see him, and good to see Charlie get through yesterday, and Jack Madgen as well. So we've got a couple of players coming back, and Brodie not too far away.
As always, Graham, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. Good luck trying to make it 5 on the trot.
No worries. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Collingwood head of footy, Graham Wright, joining us on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass, Brad Sewell and Mark Murphy with you on a Sunday afternoon. No late changes for either side. Trey Rusco and Callum Brown for the Giants, the medical subs. So we threw our best questions, Sully, but your old footy boss at the Hawks had us covered. He dodged and weaved well.
He's been around. He's been in this caper for a while, hasn't he? There's not much he hasn't seen, but... we didn't miss him on the way through, did we?
Well, we had our best go.
Yeah.
Just ask the questions that everyone else has been asking all
Definitely.
week. So we shall see. In Tassie, 5 goals for Taylor Walker, who there's a little bit of injury concern around him with a calf strain, but he's been right to take his place, so he's kicked 5. The Adelaide Crows 10-8-68, leading North Melbourne 5-7-37. So approaching three-quarter time there. Darcy Fogarty with 3 goals as well. Cam Zurhaar with a couple. So unfortunately, the Roo boys, who thought it might have been a chance to get a second win of the season, it's not looking likely at the moment with the Crows comfortably on top there. Of course, don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us on the SMS, 0437 774 774 is the SMS line, as Dave the Truckie is doing. Go Pies as he's on his way past Seymour on the way to Brisbane. Drive safe, Dave. And don't forget, of course, the best of ABC Sport for all your podcasts is where you can catch up with all the stuff from across the weekend. The full preview, Collingwood and GWS, coming up.
Got a minute? Dip into StoryStream for quick, easy, real stories from across the country.
I was only 11. Apparently I was qualified to be the translator.
When you're part of a team, you do it because you love it.
Even now, I just get a little bit giggly thinking about it. Oh, it's just so exciting.
Continuous, skippable Australian stories, exclusive to the ABC Listen app.
I was going to say something else then, but anyway. Bleep.
Look for StoryStream on the home screen of the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Collingwood are looking to stay inside the top 8 calculation. They've won their last 4 matches, a chance to make that 5 this afternoon as they take on GWS under their caretaker coach Mark McVeigh, who's won 2 of his opening 4 games since taking over from Leon Cameron. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass to call the action this afternoon. Jess Webster's down on the boundary. Your experts Brad Sewell and Mark Murphy. There's no late changes with Trey Rusco, the sub, and Callum Brown for GWS. For our listeners just joining us, unfortunately, it's been pretty ordinary weather-wise in Melbourne today. The floodlights are already on, and we are expecting a bit of rain this afternoon. So it's got the potential that it could be some wet weather footy. So bit of a challenge for the Pies who come off the bye. The Giants are losing a fair against the Bulldogs last week. When you look at the matchups on both sides, it's hard for the mind not to wander back to that 2019 prelim final, which of course the Giants were able to prevail and advance through to a grand final. It didn't end all that well, but it was a significant moment in their club's history.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I think it's just I think we've already spoken about it before, about the Giants getting another opportunity to be out here on the MCG and try and get a win against a side who's obviously going really well, having won the past 4, and there's a lot on the line for Collingwood today, so it's another challenge, and another opportunity for Mark McVeigh, especially to press his case to coach down the track as well.
There's actually more Collingwood players, Clinchy, today from that 2019 prelim than there is Giants players left in the game, which is surprising when you'd think the Pies are probably more the team in transition than GWS. So 11 for Collingwood today, 9 for GWS, and obviously both teams have new coaches. Leon Cameron's departed, and obviously the Pies in their first year under Craig McRae after Buckley left midway through last year.
It's amazing how quickly it changes, isn't it? Like, that's 2019. Two sides playing off in a prelim, and then you're 3 years down the track and there's new coaches in charge, and the whole dynamic of both clubs has changed dramatically.
Collingwood's expectations are interesting. They had 6 wins last season. Nathan Buckley obviously departed slowly. They've already had 8 wins so far this season. So where the ceiling is on what's a group that's not as young as you would think. They have an average age of around 25 today. They've got 4 players over the age of 30. So for a team who's got some fresh young talent, with Pat Lipinski coming across from the Western Bulldogs, Nick Dacos comes in, but around that, they've got some good senior leaders still there.
Yeah, they do. They've got a good core, haven't they? And I mean, that's a beauty for McRae coming in. You get almost first year. It's certainly not a free hit straight up, but club in transition. He's got some time to bed down what he'd like. And I mean, today's a bit of a danger game for the Pies. First week off the bye can take a little bit to find your legs again, and of course the turmoil surrounding the club this week, what effect, Murph, as you're saying before, what effect that it has on the senior players and the energy that's taken for them. It's just something you don't need to deal with after having what should have been a relaxing week off.
And what should have been a real positive week off, and not think about football, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with issues which you would have thought might have been done and dusted from De Goey's point of view. But yeah, it's a real energy zapper. And yeah, there's no doubt a lot of the leaders of that football club and even like the coaches obviously involved, and from everyone from the CEO to head of football, it gets everyone. It has people on the phone a lot over that period, and just dealing with things that just saps energy. So today's a huge one for them to obviously press their case to play finals football again, and to get back into the top 8, and then to put this De Goey stuff to bed.
I'm sure you've both been at footy clubs and experienced not like the De Goey incident, but something similar that has obviously distracted the group during the week. Can you use it as a positive? Is there? I know it's an energy sapping experience, but is there something that you can twist it almost in a way? And we know footy clubs are always looking for this us against them mentality, where they're out to get us, and it's a chance for us to sort of all come together. Or is it purely just a drain, and that there aren't sort of any positives to come from that episode whatsoever?
No, there's always ways to spin this type or any type of incident, I guess, into a positive, and use it as a learning experience. The impact that social media has within a group, and then conversely the broader community outside of that. There's plenty of lessons that you'd like to think as a club they've sat down and kind of gone through and picked it apart, and particularly for the younger players coming in, certain behaviours that they do and don't condone, and all the rest of it. So no, there's certainly opportunities to take positives out of it. But when you look on the other side of the ground, for example, and the Giants, I mean, they should be licking their lips. To come down to Melbourne, to play at the MCG, to play against one of the biggest clubs at the MCG, off the back of what's been a torrid week for the black and white, Giants should be really looking forward to it.
And they've got a really good record against Collingwood. So I think 6 of their last 7, they've won 4 in a row against the Pies, including that 2019 prelim final victory. So
couple by under a goal as well. So they've been on the winning side of some of the close results, and it's going to be interesting for Collingwood, because it feels like Craig McRae's been a great educator in his coaching philosophy. Even in his responses to Jordan, just wants to put an arm around him and welcome him back into the club. And he's been in the top 3 for Collingwood for clearances, for inside 50, so he does play a pivotal structural role as much as the effect that it has on the broader group.
He does, and he's probably saving the club a couple $100,000 a year as well by the fact of what he's done in terms of his currency as well, really, to be honest. So as much as it's been a huge distraction, if they can come out today and win well, and then who knows when Jordan comes back into the fold of the football club, you'd like to think so. It's probably next week, but who knows how long he's going to take out of the game. And then they've got a really a pretty easy run over the next 4 to 5 weeks, haven't they, where they can really cement a spot in the top 8. Compared to a lot of other clubs around them who've got quite a difficult run. So it's been a really positive year for Collingwood, and the last 2 weeks have been a little blimp on the radar, and today can sort of put that to bed if they come and win.
Clinchy sort of alluded to this before about sort of where the Pies find themselves now. So they're 8-5, win today 9-5, they're 7th on the table. I don't think anyone had them in their top 8 estimations at the start of the year. Do clubs look at these things in blocks, and is it a matter when you get to the mid-season break? Obviously, Collingwood's been dealing with other things, but where you actually get together and go, actually, we need to pitch our expectations a little higher here. We think that we can be a finals team as early as this year, or is it still just team in development mode, simple building blocks, sort of let's worry about what we're doing for the next 4 quarters?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much of an influence Brendan Bolton has on Craig, but I know that Bolton was a big block sort of man. So over the 3 years that we had him at the helm, we went through a period where we weren't expected to play finals, and we didn't because we were pretty average at the time. But we were very much process driven, and I think that would be pretty similar to the way most clubs these days would go about it. But there's going to have to be that point in the season where you'll have to start discussing finals if you're right in contention, aren't you? So at the same time, though, you don't go away from your KPIs or your process. But it's inevitable that players are going to start thinking about playing finals, aren't they? That's what you play football for. So you've got to have some sort of eye on that as well. But obviously the week to week and the old cliche 1 week at a time always comes out from footballers, and that's all part of it. But if they keep on winning and doing what they're doing, there's certainly going to be a lot of talk about them, which they rightly deserve.
I thought he was more an economics man, Brendan Bolton.
He's very stats driven.
With his green shoots.
He's great at telling a story, Bolts. So he's obviously been really influential and a great support to Craig, having been a senior coach himself and learning a lot of lessons over the journey.
And we were talking about it before we came on air, so it feels like a fascinating season where everyone at the start of the season thought it's Melbourne, and then who are the chasing pack, and then all of a sudden it felt like that gap narrowed as Melbourne lost 3 on the trot, and then they belted Brisbane, and maybe it's opened up a bit. And sides like Essendon last season who were able to get on a roll, could Collingwood be a team like that who maybe get to finals ahead of their time?
Yeah, I think they certainly could. I mean, what becomes so important for these developing sides is why they finish the season. So the back half of the season invariably sets up the next year, I should say. And so for Collingwood, the second half of the season becomes critically important. Certainly, if they could squeeze a final in, it becomes a great experience, and for the young side going forward, something they can take with them. But to kind of go back to the block analogy, Bolts was certainly one of the guys that brought that into Hawthorn, and it was just that 4-game block as well, and everything else would take care of itself, and that became your running ladder. For the season effectively, and I have no doubt that Collingwood would be doing the same thing, and process driven, results look after themselves, blah blah blah. I've heard it all before. So there's a reason that the clubs roll out that rhetoric, because invariably it works.
So the Magpies have made their way out onto the MCG, the Giants a few moments before that, and both teams are going through their final preparation ahead of the opening bounce, which is around 9 minutes away, with dark clouds over above and the floodlights are on. We are expecting some rain this afternoon, but hopefully it will fly through and not impact the contest too much. There's no late changes for either side, so Trey Rusco for the Pies and Callum Brown for GWS. So Collingwood bring in another debutant, their 4th debutant of the season. Isaac Chugg gets his opportunity with no Jordan Ngoe, and the Giants get back in a couple of their key movers in Tim Taranto and Daniel Lloyd. Also interested to see Phil Davis comes back in, having played 1 game in the VFL. So 31 years of age, a former captain of the club. You'd imagine he might have the job potentially on maybe Brody Mychek. Would you see him going to him? Or as you go into your full match preview, what are a couple of the key matchups you're looking forward to this afternoon, Murph?
I'd envisage Phil probably playing the deepest and trying to set up his defence from there. So whether or not Brody's going to play that deeper role, he usually likes to get up to the wings and sort of work his man back. So I feel like Phil will try and position himself as deep as possible, only having played the 1 game in quite a fair bit of time. So I think he'll be no doubt tonguing it at some point today, Phil, being his first game at the level for a couple of months. So, but I'm as we always speak about in this box, about the midfield battle. I've really enjoyed watching Pat Lipinski come across from the Bulldogs this year. I think he's given another dimension to the Collingwood midfield. Obviously, Nick Dacos is one that has been just extraordinary in his first year. I've really enjoyed his brother's year as well, Josh. I feel like he's a really smooth mover and adds a bit of class and a good decision maker up the field. But it's certainly going to be a game won and lost in the midfield because GWS they've got a lot of class in their midfield, and there's a lot of class who can't get into the midfield in their side who have to play forward. So whether or not Tim Taranto is going to have to probably play a bit more of a forward role today, I think he might find himself playing a little bit more deeper forward and come in for pinch hits through the midfield. So that's a bit of a luxury to have when you've got a bloke who's a best and fairest winner playing that sort of role for you. So there's a lot of class out there today, which I really enjoy watching. We've been fortunate enough to watch Collingwood play this year and really enjoyed their contest and their pressures work.
All of a sudden, Mason Cox becomes a really important player, doesn't he? And almost a barometer of sorts when he's clunking the ball, or not even clunking the ball, when he's providing a contest and it's becoming a predictable drop. And with some of that midfield class you touched on, Murph, they know where it's going. And so when he has a presence around the ground, we can get forward and, when he's jumping for the ball, he's a good almost arm length above the defender. So as long as he can get to as many contests and a bit of physicality for the day, Collingwood, they look a different side when he's moving around well.
Can you see him play that role? I mean, he got behind the ball in the Queen's birthday match against Melbourne and took some great intercept marks across half back. Could that potentially be part of his role when he's in the ruck? Sort of similar to those two sides that play two ruckmen. They utilise that and try and get one to provide almost a blocker for some of the key forwards.
Well, he's kind of shown he can play both ends to that extent, hasn't he? The behind the ball clinch you touched on, and we've certainly seen he can have an impact forward of the ball. So it becomes when he's confident, when he's feeling good about himself, it becomes a luxury for the Pies, and that he can play sort of either end and certainly have an impact, obviously, through the middle part of the ground as well.
His timing just looks like it's back to where that prelim final out here where he tore the Tigers apart. We've been able to watch him over the past 3 weeks, and he's been sort of almost a crowd sort of they get on his back a bit because he tends to go underneath the ball from time to time. But I feel that now the crowd really rise to him, don't they? And his presence out there is no doubt great for his teammates, but the crowd are sort of getting behind him, and now he's a citizen of the country too. So
he's a Aussie.
It's been a big couple of weeks of Big Mason.
Sometimes I wonder if he's unfairly judged off the back of half of football in that final, and I don't know that we'd have that expectation that we do, given what we've seen him do in an hour, and whether you can almost argue it was a bit of a purple patch, and every now and again players have those, and we haven't seen much of that ilk since then.
No, that's right. And he's had his issues with his eyes as well. He's had, which is obviously we all know about because of he's wearing the glasses, and we all sort of, all people tend to take the mickey out of it because no one's really seen someone wear glasses out in the field. But so that's obviously caused some concern for him, and maybe some of that timing that he was getting quite off at times is because of that reason. So it's just great to see him playing good football, and he's such an influential part of this football side.
The two wet weather games that Collingwood have both won, so the Hawthorn game and the Fremantle game over in Perth, he had to actually take the goggles off. Reggie did that they fogged up, so as a result he wasn't able to wear them. So he may have to take the goggles off again today and go without them, which is a little unusual that they're not. You would have thought you'd have goggles that would be catered for, or particularly being an outside sport, that would be able to hold up in the.
You'd think so.
In the wet, surely.
I'm not sure. Maybe we have to try wearing some
if you're an
goggles.
entrepreneur listening, there's a market there.
Surely.
Might go for a run tomorrow and wear the goggles and just see how they go.
To be honest,
fog up.
And they're more like swimming goggles, aren't they? The ones that he's wearing. Whereas I always thought they'd be more like the Horace Grant sort of NBA style when he first said he was going to wear sports goggles, but they look a bit different than that.
Yeah.
I got nothing to add on the goggles.
No. But 21 disposals against the D's and kicked a goal, so that was a career best for him, Mason. And as you said, Wednesday had the citizenship ceremony here at the MCG, so it's been a big week for him. His folks are over from Texas as well, so I'm sure they would have stuck around and caught the game this weekend.
Down in Tassie, it's the Crows by 31 points over North Melbourne early in the final term there. So Adelaide 11-9, 75 to the Roos 6-8-44, and Taylor Walker with 5 goals for the Crows. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass to call the action. Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell are your experts, with Jess Webster down on the boundary. I'm interested in the role of Nick Haynes. He's sort of been in and out of the Giants team a little bit this year, Murph. We got to see them against North Melbourne a few weeks ago, and we saw some of the young players like Jacob Ware, who's come in and made a bit of an impression with his tackling intent, and Tanner Bruin through the middle of the ground. So almost feels like he's one who's been lost of that traditional role across half-back. He's been such a great springboard for them in the past.
Yeah, he has. He's a fantastic player, so any time you can welcome back a player of his ilk is always important. But we spoke to Stevie J about the back dynamic with Phil coming back into the side. So it'll be interesting to see if Phil's going to play down there, Harry down there today. So that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. So we'll get obviously a bit of a picture of that in the next few minutes to see which side of the ground that Harry goes down to, because he was probably best on with Stephen Caniglio a couple of weeks ago against North. So any time you've got someone of that class and ilk who can play at either side of the ground is always a real luxury. So they're much a dangerous side with someone like that who can go down back and provide that run and composure for them off the half-back line.
And Collingwood don't traditionally tag, so Steve Caniglio has had a great month since Mark McVeigh's taken over. 3 of his last 4 have been over 30 disposals, and he's kicked 5 goals in the last 2 games. So not just gathering the ball in the middle of the ground, but also getting forward and really able to hit the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, well, he's back to the Stephen Caniglio of probably 4 or 5 years ago, really, where he was using his legs out of the contest and getting hard forward and really being a dangerous option through the midfield and delivering the ball inside 50 to his teammates and just leading the way in terms of his work rate. He's one that gets back hard and runs the lines really hard and is a real chain of possession type of player, and getting hard forward and kicking 5 goals over the last month's that's a real key. That takes you from a midfielder who's good. If you're kicking a goal a week or better, then you're a real top-notch midfielder.
Scott Pendlebury and Josh Kelly have just headed out to the middle of the MCG. The former member of our team is Jess Webster. Jess, welcome to you. Is the weather doing its part for the minute?
Thanks, Clinchy. Yeah, it's held off for now. Only the brave and loyal fans and dedicated professionals are in the stands this afternoon. It's 12 degrees and wet. Plenty of rain in Melbourne earlier today. Currently it's holding off, but there's plenty on the radar, so I think we're going to have an afternoon of wet weather footy, boys.
Thanks, Jess. Collingwood have won the toss. They'll head to the city end in this opening term.
Sorry, Quenchy. Sorry, Jess. The matchup between Maynard and Toby, which we've obviously touched on, it feels like the modern game. We don't have a lot of great one-on-one matchups anymore, and we heard about Sam De Koning and Max King a few weeks ago, and that could be this great matchup for the next decade. Remembering the 2019 semi-final where Braden played on Toby and kept him goalless, didn't have a single score and 9 disposals. Do you think they'll go properly head-to-head today?
Yeah, I think so. They're both the kind of players that enjoy that challenge. There's a mutual respect between each other, so we...
You feel they'd love the attention too, with people talking about that matchup. So I think we'll see the best out of both of them today, won't we?
And we're just about to find out. Corbin?
Might be one for people on the SMS throughout the day, sort of the modern day Clinchy great matchups. We've got very few of them where you actually think, I can't wait to see these teams go head-to-head because we know we're going to get that duel.
The old Kerry Jakovic sort of matchups. So round 15 of the AFL, a chance for Collingwood to bounce back into the AFL's top 8 and put a weight of controversy behind them. And the Giants looking for another win over Mark McVeigh. Here we go.
Lockie Keith started in the ruck for GWS and wins the first hit out. Ball socket forward for the Giants as Kelly's just dragged off it now. O'Halloran stands up with the ball and he's tackled inside the centre square. It's the Magpies, in fact, to the city end of the ground in the opening term after Pendlebury won the toss. Cameron palms it down for the Pies. Crisp links up with side bottom. Kicks for Myercheck. Can't take the sprawling mark. Spills to Hoskin Elliott. Clean pick up against his old mob. Kicks for Ginnivan. One out in the cage. And the spoil comes from Himmelberg. It's through for a rush behind. And a minor score for the Magpies. The first of the game, 40 seconds in. No late change either way. Trey Rusco and Callum Brown, the Medi subs, both playing their first game of the year.
Himmelberg obviously off a half-back flank, got Ginnivan at the moment, so no doubt will be trying to come off and intercept.
It's straight down the middle for the Giants. Toby Green, the target, spoiled down by Darcy Moore. Lipinski runs onto it, gets to 45 metres out, steadies and hits the post. Into the right goal post. He had Elliott at the top of the goal square. All of a sudden it opened up in front of him. Collingwood the opening 2 behind, so the Giants yet to score through a minute.
Launceston's Isaac Chugg is on debut. He started on the bench. He is rocking the long sleeves though, so he's got the black and white stripes all the way down his arms on debut as Himmelberg on the half-back flank kicks down the wing. Wanted Hogan, it's knocked away from him and out of play. And then Maynard, a big tackle on Ward. The ball spills out of play, so a throw in southern wing.
Toby Green's had about 3 different opponents so far. I think Dacos started on him and Maynard went near him, but now Quaynor, and now we've got, well, no one at the moment.
Pies by 2 points, early doors. Keefe works his way to the front, knocks it down again, comes to Cornelio, hand pass for turnover. This is side bottom, just touches the footy on the wet MCG surface. Southern wing kicks down to half forward. Mason Cox can't take the juggled mark. In fact, it is going to be paid. Knocked out of his hands late. And so umpire Mollison says Mason's free to take his kick. High half forward, he's told to play on now, puts it into a congested forward 50 to the top of the goal square. Mychek enters from the side, Taylor spoils. It'll sit for Bruin, loose hand pass to Keefe, he just jams it on the boot.
Straight to Isaac Quaynor, who was waiting for that kick for Collingwood. Squares it up, looking for Pendlebury, spoiled away by Kelly. Kicks to a vacant half forward line. Great volley from Darcy Moore, he works it back to Pendlebury, knocks it to Murphy, he's tackled by Kelly. Back to Pendlebury, to Nick Dacos, under pressure, couldn't link up with Lipinski. O'Halloran kicks inside 50. Here's Toby, gathers, tries to break the Howe tackle, has Hogan running in the goal mouth, kicks it into his path, needs to get past Quaynor, he does, and kicks the opening goal of the match. Toby Green involved, able to be the provider for Jesse Hogan. And the Giants kick the opener at the MCG. They're 1 straight 6 to Collingwood, 2 behinds. 3 minutes gone, opening turn.
You get the impression so much of this conversation leading up to the games about Toby Green. Collingwood defensively happy to back into their system. The issue is, when Toby Green has got so much time and space, it's a genuine one-on-one and the ball comes in quickly as the way it did then. The reason Maynard is generally the man is because he's such a good one-on-one player. Yep. He's so hard to beat like that. And in that instance, I don't think that was the case.
No, he had more, didn't he? So he was the deepest forward and just worked back really hard towards goal and then just read the cues off the foot and just took it on a tackler and put it out in front of Hogan. Hogan did the rest.
He kicked 40 goals, Jesse Hogan, 3 times before his 24th birthday. So what a talent he was. Obviously with the MCGs, his home ground, playing for the Demons, and then to hell and back in his football journey, but now getting another crack at it with the Giants. He kicks the first of the game. We've got another ball up here alongside the centre circles as Cornelio is locked up. Keefe, first hands on the footy again, down to Kelly for the Giants. Hand pass to the southern wing. Ward, slick hands, links up with Cumming. Giants win it, but retreating. Hand pass to Davis, hooks a kick down the wing. Here's Tom Green, marks, hand pass to Ward, dishes off to Cornelio, through the centre square at the G, hits up Hogan again. And Jesse marks at centre half forward. He dishes it off by hand to the left footer in Kelly. Shoots goalward, but he's offline. And the behind.
Interesting to see Nick Haynes playing up forward for the Giants.
Little Australian defender a few years back. Giants by 5 points, 4 minutes in.
Moore kicks towards Hoskin Elliott. Taylor in from the side. Takes intercepting mark for the Giants. Hand pass to Harry Himmelberg. Reloads inside 50. Toby Green up. Couldn't take the mark. Riccardi at the back. Hand pass to Lloyd. To Cornelio. Run down by Hoskin Elliott. Squeeze the kick into the corridor. Still a chance for the Giants. Keefe with the hand pass to Tom Green. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Hogan had it spoiled away. Throwing a boot at it was wary. Tries to, in fact, Tanner Bruin, who in the end rushes it out of play. Up against the left behind post for a boundary throw in.
Looks to me like Haynes might be playing a sort of a forward defensive role on Moore.
Yeah. Giants deep in defence at the punt road end. They lead by 5 points, having kicked the opening goal. Thrown back in. Cameron sits himself in front. Knocks it down for Collingwood. Straight to Cornelio, who's tackled by Jack Crisp, but the umpire will throw it up.
Pies in the black and white stripes with the black shorts. Yellow Sharon tossed up in the air. Comes down to Darcy Cameron, just kicks out to halfback. Cumming standing underneath it, no mark. Mychek puts his head over it, wins it. Got a hand pass out to Lipinski. Shares it with Maynard, centre halfback. Kicks wide to side bottom. Marks on the southern wing. Continues to move it down to half forward. Elliott the target. Himmelberg spoils. Is claiming the mark and it'll be paid. Put his fist into it, went straight up in the air. And then hugs onto the footy, and he's going to be paid the intercept mark at halfback. Hand pass away to Adam Kennedy, who can kick down the southern wing.
Where Hogan's the target, he can mark on his chest a few metres away from his opponent. And now looks at options at half forward. He has Green, decides to go back inboard and finds Kelly. Giants will switch it into the middle of the ground where Himmelberg has it. Through the middle to Cumming, who marks on his chest. Attacking side of the centre circles. Long and direct now, looking for Green, who's there. Spoiled away by Murphy, a push in the back. And Collingwood will take the advantage through Pendlebury. Up to the wing and Ginnivan's away.
A bit of an extra roar for Jack Ginnivan. in the long sleeves again today with the baggy shorts. He retreats back with the kick to side bottom. The side bottom shares it with Ginnivan again, who's off and running. Up into the front half, southern side of the ground. There's nothing up ahead. Again, he has to retreat 20 metres backwards. And side bottom marks. He looks to the outer corridor. Mark taken by Darcy Cameron. Now, wanting to switch the Collingwood defenders, he won't go out to the members' side. Decides to chip short to Howe. Inside the centre square, Giants by 5.
Straight down the middle, Jamie Elliott the target. Up goes Adam Kennedy, spoils it down. Davis now for the Giants. Didn't get a hand pass away. Cox falls in his back and gives away the free kick for the Pies. It's hard to miss Big Mason at 211 centimetres. He just lost his balance there and fell right in the back of Phil Davis, who's playing his first game since round 2. A 31-year-old former captain. Switches play across the defensive goal mouth. Finds Cal Ward, who takes the mark in the left back pocket. Into the corridor he comes. Spots coming on his own. He's just 25 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end as he looks at options in the middle of the ground. Nothing really on offer, so out to Taylor, who marks at left half back.
He's the number 1 intercept player in the competition, Sam Taylor, since round 8. The half back for the Giants goes short to O'Halloran. GWS in their orange jumpers today with a big charcoal G on the front of the strip. They've got the white shorts on and the orange socks. And the switches on as he goes back to Cumming, and Cumming switches all the way out to right half back. Cornelio Marks plays on, kicks into centre square, wanted Kelly. Chris Poyles, but into the lap of Lloyd, short kick to Tom Green. Marks centre half forward, 55 out, looks inside 50, Maynard. The intercept mark dropping in front of Taranto and then hits up Ginnivan in a hurry on the wing.
Ginnivan looks up to half forward. He's got Elliott, comes inboard to Lipinski, gathers on the bounce. Now to Elliott, one-on-one with Himmelberg. Elliott did the work, got rid of him, but the kick was wide and it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for the Pies.
It's breaking down around half forward, the Pies. They've got no real avenue through the 50-metre arc at the moment. Rebounding well, Maynard in particular.
The Shave Bonds, Jamie Elliott.
Yep. The Barber during the week. Giants by 5 points. Collingwood in attack as it's thrown back in. Cox doing the ruck work against Keith. Would have been teammates together at one stage. Here's a chance for the Giants. Whitfield over the top of the footy. It won't emerge and the umpire will ball it up.
A few of them out there, isn't there? Tay Adams, Will Hoskin Elliott, Lockie Keith playing against their old team today. As Cox reaching over the back, wins the hit out at half forward, down to Ginnivan again, shares it with side bottom, hand pass to Nick Dacos, 60 from home, left half forward, hand pass back to side bottom, draws the player coming at him, settles from 48 out, but across the face, he misses. Now behind the Collingwood's third, GWS a 1-1, it's the Giants by 4 points, 10 minutes in.
In Tassie, it's Adelaide by 50 points, 14-12-96 to the Roos, 6-10-46 there. Taylor Walker with 5 goals. Isaac Cumming looks to bring the Giants back into play. Long kick to half back. Toby Green flies, can't take the mark. Hogan's there. Down and slow to rise is Murphy. Cornelio with the hand pass into the corridor for Whitfield. Linking up with Ash. He looks up towards half forward. Needs Keith to make an option. It bounces out in front of him. Running away from Cameron. Gets onto the right boot. Snaps on goal and blazes out to the right. It squeezes in for a minor score. Had Haynes on in the pocket. Decided to go himself. Giants leading by 5 points.
Hard not to enjoy seeing 2 giraffes run into a loose ball like that.
Who were the best exponents at it in your time, Solly? The big men chasing after the loose footy?
Simon Taylor, Robbie Campbell, pretty funny at times.
It's Darcy Moore on the kick out to half back. Myercheck can't mark, spills down to Iden of the Giants. Hand pass to Himmelberg, gives it to Ware. High up and under to half forward. Underneath it, Lloyd can't reel it in. Spills to Darcy Moore under pressure. Got a hand pass back to the hot spot. Beautifully won by Hogan. Hand pass away to Whitfield, who snaps it through. And Hogan with the dish off, setting up the Giants' second goal. They're just getting warm, the Giants. 2-2-14, Collingwood 3 behinds. GWS by 11 points after as many minutes. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Nathan Murphy's just coming to the bench for the Pies. He was down for a long time behind play in the hands of the trainers. I think he copped a heavy knock. I think it was Toby Green in a marking contest, and he's just coming to the bench now. Looks okay, but we'll keep an eye on him because he was with the trainers for a long time.
Well, it was great pressure from Jesse Hogan, wasn't he? Just 1 or 2 efforts, followed up the football, loose ball get, and then dished off to Lockie Whitfield. So the Giants certainly come to play at the moment. They're working the ball off the half-back flank really well. They're opening up Collingwood. So they've obviously thought that the long down the line play is probably not their go-to today. They're trying to spread them as wide as they possibly can and open up the corridor to use that sort of rugby run through the middle.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. They've had 20 more disposals, the Giants. As in the middle, Tom Green gets the clearance. Out pass to Cornelio, away to Ash. Kicks inside 50, Hayne and Moore. Darcy Moore spoils it down straight into the path of Lloyd, though. Great goal-saving tackle as Noble gathers for Collingwood. Out pass to Nick Dacos to Sidebottom. Looks at options into the middle of the ground. He spots Darcy Cameron, who can hand pass it forward to Adams. He can link up with Chris. And here go Collingwood through the middle of the G. He gets to 55, long towards Henry or towards goal. It's offline to the right, and Cumming takes the mark running back with a flight just inside the behind line.
Probably could have taken an extra 10 or 15.
Had space, didn't he?
Yeah, had more space in front of him.
First kick today for Jack Crisp, averaging 26 touches a game this year, and in his 177th consecutive game, the longest active streak in the AFL. As Whitfield goes short with a kick to Ash. Isaac chugs down in the mark on debut. Playing half forward for Collingwood. Short to Davis, the former captain, and he chips out wide to Cornelio. One of three current skippers for GWS. They've kicked the first 2 goals. 2-2 to 3 behinds. We're 13 minutes in a slow play. Cornelio kicks down the wing. They all miss it. Spills through to Cal Ward, who puts his head over the top of it, or in fact it's Bruin bottom of the pack. Ward waiting for it. It comes to Crisp though, and Collingwood away. Hand pass to Howe. Pendlebury can't take it clean. Nick Dacos, hand pass of turnover. Himmelberg for the Giants. Got it to Taranto. Hand pass to Lloyd. Kicks inside 50. Nick Haynes takes the sprawling mark in front of Darcy Moore. And Haynes, the All-Australian defender, is going to have a set shot here. 30 metres out, just right of centre.
It's a good bit of coaching, I think, having Haynes down there playing on Moore and making him accountable, because Moore just wants to read the play himself and come off an intercept, whereas Haynes is positioning himself in a really great spot and obviously here getting used on the offence.
He did kick a goal in the semi-final last year, the loss to Geelong. Hasn't had one since. Nick Haynes, he misses to the near side. Behind. GWS giving the Pies a few problems early. 14 minutes in, the Giants 2-3, Collingwood 3 behinds.
Jeremy Howe brings Collingwood back into play. Short to the pocket to Nick Dacos, and now to Noble. Still in the right back pocket. Now Dacos is trying to work around the back. Could have almost got a 50-metre penalty from Jesse Hogan being in the restricted zone, but the umpire said no. Very short Noble to Maynard in game 150. Runner-up in Collingwood's best and fairest last year. Braden Maynard looks at options around the members' wing. Sends it towards Cameron. Up against Riccardi. It clears the 2. Henry behind. Couldn't get a disposal away for Collingwood. O'Halloran's hand pass. Missed Riccardi. In goes Elliott. Sliding through traffic. Looks to pull his kick towards McCreary. It's over his head. Iden back with a fly. Takes the mark for the Giants in the left back pocket. It's the Giants by 12 points early. 2-3-15 to Collingwood 3 behinds.
Crows by 44 points over North Melbourne in the waning moments there, so North's losing sequence will continue. As Iden goes short to Cumming. And he goes back to the top of the defensive goal square to Himmelberg. And switch play out to the southern side. Short kick to Iden, still in the D50. Comes outside the arc. Mark taken by Ware, the South Australian at half back. He's going back to Iden. The Giants by 12 points, 15 and a half minutes into the opening term. Collingwood well set up here. And Iden's just going to have to go long with a contest kick down the southern wing. Taranto tries to spoil it into the path of Nick Dacos for Collingwood. Hand pass to Quaynor, tries to get it back to Nick Dacos, does so. Hand pass to Sidebottom, trying to shake the Whitby tackle from Lloyd. Hand pass close to the boundary line. Quaynor keeps it alive, gives it to Pendlebury, kicks it back down the wing, hitting up to meet at Hoskin Elliott, but Taylor spoils it away from him, and a throw-in on the southern wing.
Sidebottom, the leading possession winner on the ground with 9 thus far.
Giants leading by 12 points, having the better of the early proceedings here. Thrown back in, Cox one down the tap, and straight to Kelly, who hand passes straight to Crisp. Squeeze the kick towards half forward for Collingwood. Pendlebury with a big tackle on Cornelio. Somehow threw it onto his boot. Got it to Kelly. Pinched though by Lipinski. Hand pass inboard to Myercheck, who had a fumble. Regathers. Hand pass into the middle of the G for Quaynor. Looks towards 50. Elliott on the lead. Takes the mark moving laterally. Marks 45 metres out. Pretty much directly in front.
Well, it was a great kick because the Giants have really flooded back and basically protected all space with the inside 50 of Collingwood, and that was basically his only option. It was a great keep by Quaynor.
Jamie Elliott, who kicked 3 goals against the Demons in their win on Queen's Birthday Monday. Back averaging around sort of 15 to 16 disposals per game. Can be deadly in the midfield as well. Looking for Collingwood's first goal of the match. Elliott from right on 50, hits it sweetly and sails it over the goal umpire's head. The Pies on the board after 17 minutes here at the MCG through Jamie Elliott. 1-3-9 to the Giants, 2-3-15 on ABC Sport.
You call it, Murph. Giants have been defending well, getting back, and on that occasion, a really smart lateral lead from Elliott, which Quaynor was good enough to spot and importantly hit. It was a clever mark in the end to protect the ball drop. Really enjoying the Giants attacking ball movement there. They're playing on handball receives as much as possible through the middle part of the ground. It's exciting to watch.
It is, and they're from the stoppages, they're looking inside at every opportunity. If there's nothing on the inside, they're using the width, so they're spreading the ground really long and wide and trying to open up Collingwood's defence. So it's obviously a tactic that they've thought throughout the week, that we can try and penetrate their zone by spreading them as far wide and long as possible.
Averaged 70 points a game in their first 9 matches. The Giants, they've averaged 110 in their last 4. They lead it by a goal here, but Collingwood on the board through Elliott. At the centre bounce, Ash squeezes a kick forward. Lipinski hands it to Noble. He's met high. And a tackle from Jacob Ware and a free kick for Noble on the wing. Members side, he comes out wide to Quaynor. Takes the mark for Collingwood. Looks up into the forward 50. Not a great kick. Up to meet it. Taylor spills the chest mark. Hand pass from Adams back to centre half forward, but the Giants win it again as Ward to Whitfield, who just bangs a kick into open space on the southern wing.
Foot races on. Hoskin Elliott got there first for Collingwood, trying to link up with Murphy, offering chase. O'Halloran as the 2 Magpies working around him. As Murphy gives it back to Hoskin Elliott, long kick around the wing. Ginnivan stuck underneath a couple of Giants, and Himmelberg spoils it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Giants by 6 points here after 19 minutes at the MCG. Down in Tassie, it's the Crows by 45 points, approaching full-time there. 15-13, 103 to North Melbourne, 8-10-58. From the throw-in, a chance for Adams, hard against the boundary. Could have been taken when not in possession by Kelly. Just a bump or a tackle when he didn't have the footy. Taylor Adams will take the free kick on the southern wing.
Clearance is 7-2 to Collingwood.
As Elliott goes short to Pendlebury. Floodlights are on. Threatening grey veil hangs over the MCG. It's rained most of the morning and there is further showers forecast, but not raining at the moment. As Pendlebury finds Hoskin Elliott, kicks inside 50. Taylor again hands to it. No mark, spills to Elliott, trying to get back onto his right side. Breaks 2 tackles, hand pass to Chug. He's crunched. The first gamer falls down towards Bruin. He's tackled, holding the ball, said the umpire. And Jamie Elliott with the follow-up after dishing off the hand pass, lays the tackle and wins possession back. And it will be a shot at goal. 40 metres out, just left of centre.
He's looked terrific now. Really poppy, bouncy, explosive, and his second effort there after the initial contest. He's been rewarded a shot on goal.
He's an important player, isn't he?
Yeah.
For him. If he can string games together and get that continuity in his body, he's a really damaging player and someone who's a real barometer for him.
A deep breath for Jamie Elliott as he starts his approach to the city end of the ground. The chase down tackle and now the set shot. He's setting the tone for the Magpies. Elliott has Collingwood's first 2. And we're all knotted up. 21 minutes into the opening term. 2-3-15 apiece. Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell.
Collingwood sort of weathered the storm, haven't they? Giants started really well. Their pressure around the contest was quite good. They were getting the ball forward, getting good yardage. But now it seems that Collingwood have really started to up the ante around the contest and winning some of these clearances and just putting the Giants under enormous pressure, and that one's all on the back of forward pressure and forward work rate. So tried to dodge one tackle but couldn't do the second.
He's the number 1 tackler inside 50 per game, Jamie Elliott, alongside Matt. Oh, he's averaging around 2 a game, so no doubt Craig McRae will show that during the week.
It is. It's a big stat that they always look at, those forward 50 tackles. If you're getting anywhere from probably 10 to 15 as a group, you're in a good space.
Mason Cox into the ruck here up against Keefe. Keefe wins down the tap for the Giants. Lipinski sockers it off the deck out to the southern wing. Ginnivan first onto it. Hand pass linking up with Josh Dacos to brother Nick. Back to Josh. Got the hand pass to Maynard. Kick short. Crisp takes the mark. Centre of the southern wing with Collingwood drawing scores level at 15 apiece.
I feel like the shaved head's a real statement as well. Just all business, Jamie Elliott. So ready to go. Roll the sleeves up. And a couple of goals already to start the game for Collingwood as the kick comes down the wing. Cox was the target. No mark. Spills down to Chug, the first gamer. Hand pass inside the forward 50, trying to follow up his own ball. Unsuccessfully. Ash had it, lost it. Pack forms close to the boundary line. 40 metres out from the goal for Collingwood. Giants get a little surge kick out of the defensive 50. Spills to Tom Green. Hand pass wanted Taranto. He was tackled without it. On McCreary and a free kick for Taranto at half-back for GWS. Scores level.
Quickly inboard to Ash at centre half-back through the middle of the G. Found Himmelberg, who took it from Kennedy to Cal Ward. Through traffic, hand pass to Tom Green. It opens up, kicks towards Toby Green. Backpedaling, can't take the mark. Trying to slide in Noble. Toby Crowthers, he could have almost been pushed in the back by Moore. No whistle as Collingwood emerges. In fact, it's holding the ball as Howe kicks out to the members' wing. It's too wide for Ollie Henry, and it goes out of play for a boundary throw in. Little time to gather and to move for Toby Green inside the Giants forward 50. Collingwood are able to repel, having kicked the last 2 goals of the match.
Maynard stands next to him now. It's been a rotating defence so far for Toby Green in the forward 50. Hasn't had a one-on-one matchup so far as Josh Kelly from the stoppage puts the Giants inside 50. Howe leaping up the spoil down to Hoskin Elliott. Pies win possession. Hand pass to Maynard. Kicks back down the wing. Cal Ward, double fister, close to the boundary line, finds the safety of it, and McCreary just pushes Ward in the back, gives away the free. And McCreary's not happy, trying to tell the umpire he went down a little easy.
Looks like Cal Ward's playing off a half-back flank today, so someone who uses the ball really well, great composure.
Giants go inside 50, just sits it up to the hot spot, jumping for the footy. Hogan, no mark, falls to Toby Green, defend off. He's now dispossessed by Lipinski. Ball spills to Hoskin Elliott, back to Lipinski by hand. Big contest, Myercheck bangs bodies with Keefe. Ball spits out the Giants with the numbers.
Picked up by Whitfield, draws the opponent, hand pass to Kennedy, inside 50 again towards Haynes, spoiled away from him, but Darcy Moore had the arms around the chest. And the umpire spotted it. And Nick Haynes will get another crack, having started in attack this afternoon.
Been a great matchup, though, hasn't it? Haynes has been happy to play on that fat side. Plenty of space to move into, and he's obviously a very good one-on-one player as it is, and he's got the better of Moore so far.
He's pretty much directly in front. Nick Haynes comes in and misses to the right. And you normally put down on the record a chance for the Giants to take back the lead. They've done so, but by just a point, not 6. 2-4-16 to Collingwood 2-3-15. 25 minutes gone, opening turn.
Kick out from Moore to Maynard. Short kick to Josh Dacos. Links up with brother Nick. He kicks to the southern wing and finds Murphy. He just chips short to Josh Dacos. Still in the defensive half, Collingwood. And all the numbers have gathered on that southern side of the ground, waiting for the long contest kick down the line, and here it comes off the boot of Josh Dacos. Thumped away by Taylor. There's a free kick for a push. Myercheck's getting it between wing and half forward for Collingwood. They all swarm inside the forward pocket. Myercheck's just going to lay it up to the top of the goal square. It carries everyone and bounces through. Myercheck with the long-range goal. They all missed it gathering in the goal square, and Brodie Myercheck puts Collingwood in front. 26-minute mark of the opening term. That is a bomb. 3-3-21, GWS 2-4-16. Pies back in front by 5 points.
It was a bomb, but it looked like he almost three-quarter kicked it. So very rarely do you get a win direction here at the MCG, but he's kicked that 55. And he probably tried to put it at the top of the square and somehow carried the pack and bounced through. So he's in good form. Myercheck and start the game well today.
He almost caught the defenders off guard. I don't think they realised the ball was going to carry as far as what it did. Giants showed a lack of urgency to get back on the goal line, but I don't think they were expecting the ball to carry the way it did.
Mark Murphy and Brad Saul with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle. Keefe has the footy locked to his chest. He can't break clear as Darcy Cameron lays the tackle. They'll compete once more. This time Cameron tried to volley it out of the air, missed the footy. Elliott over the top, jets down low, wrestles with Kelly. It comes the way of Crisp. He can't break clear. And Cornelia lays the tackle. Full time in Tassie, Adelaide by 57 points over North Melbourne. Taylor Walker booting 6 as the Crows record their 5th win of the season. Cameron for the Pies, kicks towards half forward. Steele side bottom, can't take it. Tackle by Ware, ball spills clear. Whitfield tries to link up again with Ware. Squeeze the kick into the middle of the ground. Green against 2. That's Toby, punched away by Maynard. Spills to Pendlebury. Back to Maynard. Hand pass to Crisp. One last roll of the dice. Kicks towards Henry up, can't take it. Through his fingertips. McCreary at the back. Gathers. Snaps on the right. Vacant goal mouth. He misses offline to the right. A minor score. And the Pies with their noses in front by 6 points. 27 minutes gone, opening turn.
Got great power, doesn't he, McCreary? He just goes bull at a gate. I really enjoy watching him.
Coming on the kick out. Long to the southern wing. Moore competes in the air. Spills down to Tom Green. Hand pass a turnover. Nick Dacos had it, lost it, coughed it back up. Haynes knocks it away to Hogan right on the bell. And that'll do us through one. Collingwood by 6 points, having trailed for most of the opening term. 2 lead changes in that first quarter of footy. It's the Magpies 3-4-22. GWS 2-4-16. The goal kickers, Jamie Elliott kicked Collingwood's first 2. He's the only multiple goal kicker, 1 for Brody Myercheck, and then singles for Whitfield and Jesse Hogan kicked the first of the game. Pies by 6.
And as we mentioned just a few moments ago, Adelaide by 57 points over North Melbourne. 17-13, 115 to the Roos, 8-10-58. So Taylor Walker finished with 6 goals, 2. Darcy Fogarty with 4 and Cam Zurhaar with a couple for the Kangaroos. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
On the 1st of July, 90 years ago, ABC Radio crackled to life.
This is the ABC.
On the 1st of July this year, celebrate with us as we take a journey through the years.
And our first broadcast was from studios originally the dressing room.
And this is the Coming Out Ready or Not show.
Oh yes, thanks very much indeed.
Happy to hear from you as well. The open line is coming your way.
Tuned in, 90 years of ABC Radio.
Oh wow, we're away.
11 a.m. on Friday, July the 1st, right here on ABC Radio.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
O'Halloran kicks inside 50. Here's Toby. Gathers, tries to break the Howe tackle. Has Hogan running to the goal mouth. Kicks it into his path. Needs to get past Quaynor. He does. And kicks the opening goal of the match.
Lloyd can't reel it in. Spills to Darcy Moore under pressure. Got a hand pass back to the hot spot. Beautifully won by Hogan. Hand pass away to Whitfield, who snaps it through.
Kelly pinched though by Lipinski. Hand pass inboard to Myercheck, who had a fumble. Regathers. Hand pass into the middle of the G for Quaynor. Looks towards 50. Elliott on the lead. Looking for Collingwood's first goal of the match. Elliott from right on 50. Hits it sweetly. And sails it over the goal umpire's head.
Thumped away by Taylor. There's a free kick for a push. Myercheck's getting it between wing and half forward for Collingwood. They all swarm inside the forward pocket. Myercheck's just going to lay it up to the top of the goal square. It carries everyone and bounces through. Myercheck with the long-range goal.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Collingwood in front at the first break by 6 points, 3-4-22 to the Giants, 2-4-16, despite the Giants kicking the opening 2 goals of the match. Matt Klitsch and Corbin Bittermass calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts, Brad Saul and Mark Murphy.
Entertaining first quarter, Murph. Felt like the Giants got a hold for the first half. Took the Pies a little while to find their groove. And what became the trigger for Collingwood was their tackles inside forward 50. Tackles are 10. What am I looking at here? Sorry, clearances are 10-3 for Collingwood. So once they started controlling the contest and getting the ball forward. There's a forward pressure that they managed to lock it in, and Elliott was the catalyst for that.
Yeah, they got the game back in a contest, which is conducive to their game style and the way in which they like to play. The Giants at the start of the game especially were just holding the ball, maintaining, getting uncontested marks, trying to make the ground as big and long as possible and trying to work their way through, and we're doing it quite well. And actually their first quarter was quite good because Nick Hainsbury had an opportunity to really drive it into Darcy Moore in terms of he's obviously got the roll on him today, but to go back and unfortunately missed two set shots from probably 25 to 30 metres out on not really much of an angle. Could have really made Darcy Moore start to think a lot more about his game and really challenge him in that department. But Nick Haynes has been fantastic so far anyway. But if he can make the most of his opportunities, can go back and hit the scoreboard, then it becomes a really a great coaching move already, but it really does nail it. But you just start to feel that Collingwood are really getting the game on their terms, the back half of that first quarter, and it's a great game of football to watch, really.
What's been exciting to watch, particularly early, was the Giants' propensity to play on quickly through the middle part of the ground, which gave them some really good looks going forward. And unfortunately, as you said, Haynes is kicking for goal like a defender. But the contest, the contested ball that was in dispute early, for Collingwood to start controlling that, getting the ball played in their half. Cox is starting to get his hands on it. The Dacos boys are prevalent through the middle parts of the ground. And Myercheck just doing what Myercheck does, just bobbing up, and he sort of does the simple things consistently well, notwithstanding that his goal that carried and surprised everyone 55 metres as he turned beyond the arc was a great finish.
It was. So we are looking forward to seeing if the Giants want to work more at the sort of the contested style, because they are getting very cleaned up around the clearances. Their pressure has been quite good, but Collingwood just getting their hands on the footy first, and as we've seen throughout the entirety of this year, they really do hunt in numbers, Collingwood, and it's been a real feature of their game this year when they are playing really well, that their contested side of the ball is really high. Clearances and tackles are obviously a real feature of their game, and they were fantastic in that prior to the bye against Melbourne, and they're really starting to continue that on today.
Giants have been in position for a few moments. Craig McRae keeping Collingwood for a couple of moments longer, with Collingwood leading by 6 points at quarter time. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. If you've got a thought or comment, great having Murph's expert comments. Miss him at the Blue Baggers, but great to have him on the ABC. That's from Benny in the Valley. Hi guys, Paul from Yarrawonga, great call. Not much going the Bombers' way. I think the Giants can get the job done today. And Bruiser from Latham thinks GWS will win by about 30 points against the Pies this afternoon. Second quarter underway. Jack Crisp gets the opening clearance, kicks inside 50. Davis couldn't claim the mark against Henry, but was taken high with his head over the footy. And Phil Davis quickly takes the free kick. Out to Harry Himmelberg on the defensive 50. Up to Tanner Bruin, who dropped the mark off his chest, had enough time to regather. Hand pass to Cornelio, almost run down by Chuck. The debutant, he kicks up the wing. Lloyd in front. Quaynor spoils it down. Now the tackler on Hogan. Hand pass comes to O'Halloran, to Tom Green, to Taranto. Noble put in a good chase. Kicks inside 50. Toby Green, good pickup. Josh Kelly's kick straight into Maynard's head. It bounces out to Noble. Hand pass to Sidebottom to Pendlebury. Couldn't take it cleanly. Little toe poke from Cornelio. Sidebottom off the deck up to half-back, and Whitfield gathers.
He gives a hand pass to Keefe. Shoots one out to Cumming, and he links up with Kelly. Short kick to Toby, who drops to his knees and takes the mark right on the 50.
We certainly got it in him to get from here. Watching last week, kicking 7 and a few of these on the 50 emblem, and he would no doubt get it probably an extra 4 or 5 metres by wheeling out to his right foot.
He's had just the one kick so far, 3 hand passes. Hasn't hit the scoreboard as yet. He's going to pass it short inside 50. Hits up Daniel Lloyd, who marks in that channel at half forward. He'll kick from about 35 out, left half forward.
Poker player's bluff.
Yeah, it was very smart, wasn't it?
Still no excuses defensively for allowing that to happen, just to putting the defence to sleep. Yep, smart play by Green, but as a defensive coach, I imagine the Pies have been upset with that.
Hasn't played since round 2. Daniel Lloyd had a broken forearm. He's back today at the MCG. His kick is a howler. Slides off the side of the boot and he misses everything. No change to the score. Collingwood by 6 points, 2 minutes into the second term.
Letting some opportunities slip, the Giants.
Maynard has the footy in his hands as he sends Collingwood out of defence. Up to half-back, Mason Cox wrestles with Keefe. It spills to the front. Tom Green for the Giants. Hand pass to Whitfield, back to Keefe. Thought about the hand pass to Cornelio, now goes on his boot. A wobbling kick inside 50. Noble up early against Kelly. Spoils it away. Now Maynard has a go. Got it to the defensive 50. Whitfield inside 50 to the pocket. Hogan can't take the mark. Quaynor around the boundary. Down low for Howe. Kicks towards Cox at half-back. Spoils it down against Keefe. Side bottom with a crucial little topo. Out to Hoskin Elliott. Pulls his kick and finds Taylor Adams, centre of the southern wing.
The former Giant goes into the corridor as Pendlebury takes the mark, almost mowed down, trying to hit up Ginnivan, got to him on the half volley, trying to draw the free kick for the tackle, and he does so. Cumming got him over the shoulder. He just bent at the knees, Ginnivan leant into Isaac Cumming, and he got the call that he was after. And Jack Ginnivan will get a set shot here at centre half forward, just inside the 50.
So it felt like everyone in the ground then knew exactly what was going to occur when Ginnivan got the ball. Then you just knew he was going to drop his knees, and he's got it down to a textbook. It's a fine art, isn't it, at the moment? So,
but that one was high, Murph.
Oh, it's certainly higher, but he drops the knees and then leans into it. So it's almost impossible not to get him high there.
So Jack Ginnivan draws the free kick. He can't cash in on the reward. Misses out to the left and behind. So both teams leaving some set shots out there. Collingwood by 7 points, 4 travelled second term.
Murph can speak with some authority about those free kicks.
Oh. What are you trying to say, Sully?
Righto, we're divided in the commentary box early as Brad Sewell puts it all on notice. The Pies out of defence, the Giants, should I say, out of defence, and it's taken by Jesse Hogan, who's working up the back of the ground from Harry Himmelberg. Left half back, works a kick over the top, looking for Whitfield. Side bottom, did he have enough of it? The mark has been paid Collingwood's way, and still side bottom keen to take it. Around Kelly on the mark with the hand pass to Noble, right half forward, kicks close to the boundary line for Henry. Can he juggle it inside? He can. A little topo to the goal mouth. Mychet's going to finish the work on the goal line. Brodie Mychet with his second. There was a little toe poke in there. I think it was from Hoskin Elliott that got it right to the goal line. And like all good key forwards, Brodie Mychet was awake to that, and he finished the job. Collingwood by 13 points, 4-5-29 to the Giants, 2-4-16.
Still sidebottoms up to his 13th disposal so far. He just gets under the guard.
He does. Well, he hasn't had a big year in terms of disposals this year, but he still has that ability just to keep on racking the ball up because he is such a hard worker who gets back in defence and supports his defence. He's a real chain of possession type player. He'll get you with 1 or 2 or 3 possessions sometimes in a link play, and if they're going to allow him to keep on getting back and being used in that manner, he's so, as we all know, he's so dangerous with ball in hand. You can't allow him just to get possessions at will.
We welcome our Tasmanian listeners from North Melbourne and Adelaide. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass, Jess Webster, Brad Sewell and Mark Murphy with you at the MCG. Collingwood by 13 points, 5 minutes gone, second term.
They've kicked the last 4 of the game after the Giants kicked the first 2. Cox wins the hit out in the middle. Steve Cornelio sends his kick to centre half forward for the Giants. Toby Green jams it on the left boot inside 50. Darcy Moore reaching over the pack, will be paid the mark. 30 metres out from his defensive goal line. No late change either team. Trey Rusco the sub for Collingwood and Callum Brown for the Giants. The kick from Moore up to the wing. Davis thumps it away. Down into the path though of Josh Dacos of the Magpies. Hand pass to Cameron. Surge kick forward to turnover. And Cumming takes the intercept mark on the back flank.
The Giants kicked the opening 2 goals of the match, and then Collingwood took control. Jamie Elliott with a couple of goals late in the first quarter and currently leading by 13 points. Coming back inside the defensive 50, finds Taylor at left half back, and now out to Cal Ward. Started across half back this afternoon, spots up Whitfield. Takes the mark still at half back for the Giants. It's a congested wing down the southern side as he looks at options. Now has to send it long in the direction of Riccardi up against Quaynor. Quaynor pinches it, couldn't get a clean hand pass away. Tom Green spins through traffic, hand pass to Kelly for the Giants, runs away from Lipinski, kicks towards Hogan, caught behind against Murphy, spoils it down, Murphy gathers, Hogan tackles, hand pass to Quaynor, back to Howland, back inside the defensive 50 to Nick Dacos. Now Hogan's continuing on as they scrap forward at defensive 50, he and Murphy, and the umpires come in and paid a free kick.
Murphy by a hand. Dishes off to Nick Dacos, the youngest man on the ground. Against the southern boundary line, lays a hand pass over to Jeremy Howe, who kicks up into the front half. Mychek with a big push at the back. The mark is going to be paid, though, to Darcy Cameron, who pulls it down among about 3 bodies, including Himmelberg for the Giants, who now stands the mark. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. His kick hits up Brodie, and Mychek comes skidding out to take the mark at right half forward.
It's a great role for Nick Dacos to play, isn't it? Just off a half-back flank, running around. And he's such a great ball user, and they're just rewarding him for being in the right spots. And you just can't allow a bloke who, although he's only in the start of his career, just to have that much time with the ball, because he's just going to cut you up. He's easily one of their best ball users already.
Mychek looking into the corridor, the boundary line, about 5 metres away on his right. He'll have to kick it from about 53 metres out. He's got his kicking boots on today, but he misses just to the right-hand side, near side. From where that kick came in, a minor score. Collingwood by 14, 4-6 to 2-4, 8.5 minutes into the second turn. Pies by 14.
He's a barista, Brodie Mychek as well, part of the Collingwood contingent who bought a cafe in Hawthorn. As Himmelberg out of defence, not his best kick, and Noble takes intercepting mark as it fails to reach Haynes. Looks inside the 50. Ginnivan's at the top of the 50. Mychek now offers a lead, sends in that direction. And Mason Cox as well. From behind, Davis got a fist to it. Ginnivan tries to wrestle it away from Whitfield, who's stuck on the bottom of that pack, and the umpire will ball it up 35 metres out from the Collingwood goal at the Punt Road end.
Up it goes. Cox first hands on the footy. Ginnivan charging through. Tackled by Cumming. Umpire says ball up. Took a while to blow the whistle. We'll do it all again. 35 out from the Magpies goal at the Punt Road end. Cox grabs it out of the ruck, somehow dropped it onto his boot, trickles away 5 metres. Tom Green grabs it for the Giants. His hand pass turnover. McCreary at centre half forward likewise. Coughs it up. Toby Green. His hand pass at turnover too. Side bottom for the Magpies between wing and half forward. Hand pass to McCreary. He dishes off to Hoskin Elliott. 52 out. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Cox got hands to it. Spills down to Ginnivan. Ginnivan tackled. Ball held in. Umpire says ball up. 15 out from the Collingwood goal.
Mychek was goal side with plenty of space too with that ball split forward.
Pies by 14 points. Cox doing the ruckman against Keith. Neither got a disposal to it. Jamming it on the boot was Lipinski. It's across the face. And in the end, gathered by Taylor. Turns it straight over though, and Noble takes the mark right on 50. Feeds the hand pass around the back to Braden Maynard. Long kick on the left boot. Puts it out to the left. And out of bounds on the full in game 150. No change to the score. Collingwood by 14 points. Earlier it was Adelaide by 57 points. With Taylor Walker kicking 6. And the final match of the round, Port Adelaide and the Gold Coast Suns. We'll take you there at the completion of this game, about to get underway soon.
Braden Maynard, the 95th Collingwood player to reach the milestone today. Won 50 games. As Iden long down the line and Hogan takes a contested mark. He looks back inboard, short kick to Cornelio. He's going to come down the wing member side. Nick Haynes, who's playing up front, flies for it. Cameron up in front, takes the intercept mark though for Collingwood. And the Pies win possession back. Short kick wide, but Noble. Debutant today for Collingwood in Isaac Chugg. So just the one touch so far, started on the bench. Jumper number 34 in the long sleeves. A short kick to Nick Dacos, and he goes short too to Crisp, who marks centre half back for the Magpies.
And chip it over the top to Maynard, who's looking for a hand pass, but none on offer. Looks at options on the southern wing. Still side bottoms there, instead gets right underneath this as he kicks towards half forward. Good body contact in the end by Lipinski as he tried to scrap for it. Side bottom's tackle on Ware was over the shoulder.
First time I've seen Braden Maynard kick on his right foot. Suggest he stick to his left.
Yeah, for the rest of the match, if that's the result.
Yeah.
As Ware has it on the half-back line for the Giants, sends it wide to left half-back. And Cumming has it. Is that Cumming with no real options long down the line, looks into the corridor, nothing there, so reluctantly has to kick long down the southern wing. Collingwood is well set, and Maynard can mark on his chest at right half-back.
Just really breaking down along the centre-half forward line at the moment. The Giants are sort of just giving easy young contested marks to the Collingwood defenders and allowing offence to really come off the top of it.
Maynard kicks wide to Hoskin Elliott, short kick to side bottom. Feints to hand pass. He's going to go back and have his kick. Just forward of the wing. Possession number 15, the chief possession getter on the ground. He takes on the man on the mark and he's caught holding the ball. There was nothing up ahead. Ware lays the tackle. And Sidebottom tried to handball it out in front of him as he was being tackled by the Giants youngster, and the ump said that's holding the ball. Short kick back to Cumming. Again, we're in this slow play between the arcs. As Cumming goes long down the wing, Maynard crashes the pack, spills down to Crisp. Collingwood get it again. Across the half-back line, hand pass from Noble to Murphy. Kicks out wide to Sidebottom in a one-on-one with Ware. He gives away a free kick here for a hold. Advantage applied to Hogan quickly inside 50, and Toby Green trying to fly for it. Can't complete the mark. The pressure from Murphy forces the neutral ball. It's out of play, 40 metres out from the Giants' goal.
Got to wonder if Harry Himmelberg might go forward and maybe be an option for him up the ground, because at the moment they're sort of, other than Haynes and Hogan, is probably not that really tall key down there. They need someone a bit taller who can take a contested mark.
Just the one goal Collingwood's way in this second quarter through 13 minutes. Cameron out of the ruck, hand pass to Crisp, kicks up to half forward, half back, Taylor for the Giants, hand pass inboard, missed his intended target. Himmelberg has to try and win it, tackled by Pendlebury, dropped the footy. Now Ginnivan underneath the bottom of the pack, and he can't knock it clear as the numbers pile on top. Collingwood 4-6-30 to the Giants 2-4-16. 14 minutes gone, second term, after the Pies led by 6 points at quarter time. From the throw up, Sidebottom picks it up for Collingwood. Hand pass to Ginnivan, turned it straight over to Lloyd. Hand pass away to the run of Whitfield, inside 50. Just a touch too wide for Hogan against Quaynor. He scraps for it, trying to regather. Moore's hand pass put Lipinski under enormous pressure as Whitfield lays the tackle on him. The Giants will lock it inside 50. A ball up 45 metres out from goal.
Just missed a few opportunities inside 50, haven't they, the Giants? Luckily Whitfield, you normally put him down for hitting the target there inside.
We've gone 10 minutes without a goal from the ball up. Cameron wins it down, but straight to Taranto. Hand pass to Canelio, kicks into the forward pocket for the Giants. Spills to Quain, although hand pass to Josh Dacos. Kicks hurriedly out to half-back. They all fly for GWS. It's whacked out of play by Ash. And a throw in between wing and half-forward for the G-men. Collingwood by 14 points. We've gone 10 minutes without a goal. We're now 15 minutes into this second quarter. It must be said it's just slowed down a little bit after Giants kicked the first two, Collingwood the last four. Two lead changes in the opening quarter from the boundary throwing. Cameron down to Ginnivan. Hand pass to Adams. Shares it with Lipinski. Kicks to half forward. Iden off his shin. Spills to Elliott, his direct opponent. Pokes the pass inside 50. Myercheck on the run. Kicks goal, but he misses. To an unguarded goal square. And a behind. Myercheck has kicked the last two in the game. He can't add to his tally there. Collingwood by 15 points. 16 minutes into the second quarter.
Wouldn't have looked out of place in the State of Origin, Jamie Elliott. Game 2 coming up tonight from Perth. You can hear it on ABC Radio. Coming straight down the middle for the Giants. Lloyd out towards Taranto. He's held by Noble. And Noble gave him a bit of a shove after the whistle came as well. No 50-metre penalty, although he's probably getting a word of advice to be careful there.
You'd be a Maroons fan for sure, Clinchy.
You think?
Yeah, I reckon. You're born in Victoria. The whole weird Sydney-Melbourne thing that you guys have going on.
It's normally the way it works, doesn't it? What will be the turnout in Perth? Will they be right behind it?
I think last time they had just under 60,000, so I think they'll probably almost sell it out again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have
There's probably not much going on over there, is there?
A subtle backhander there from Corbin.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. That's the way I took it anyway. So Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis, Matthew Elliott and the team in action tonight from 7:30. You'll hear Game 2 of the State of Origin from Perth. Himmelberg has it at right half forward for the Giants. Deep inside 50. Hogan's in the pack. Great mark, Darcy Moore. Just stood his ground vertically behind and was able to pluck an impressive mark. 10 metres out from his defensive goal. Kicks to the right back pocket. And he finds Braden Maynard.
Jesse Hogan is the key forward, needs to compete better than that, not allow. Effectively, it was an uncontested mark.
Maynard goes long down the line and Cummings spoils, and it's out of play. Southern wing. I think generally most Victorians are Maroons fans. A lot of Melbourne Storm players play for the Maroons, and it's this. Generally, if you're not with New South Wales, you're.
No need to justify it back.
Yeah.
Murph's slid in a little dig at WA in the middle of all that as well, which just a little drive-by.
There's riffs everywhere here.
Boundary throw in Lloyd, hand pass away, and there's a huge tackle laid in the middle of the ground. Jamie Elliott has been involved in everything so far today with the big tackle on Cumming, and we'll have the ball up. McCreary involved there for the Magpies. There's a free kick here, non-controlling umpires getting involved. It's going Tom Green's way. So after all that intervention, now the Giants can go inside the forward 50. Tom Green's kick to the hot spot. Falls down in front of the pack. Noble, hand pass to Moore, to Nick Dacos. He links up by hand with Maynard. And chips it down the boundary line to Hoskin Elliott. Defensive side of the wing, kicks beyond it. Wants the big man in Cox, running out of room. Close to the boundary line and halved it with Iden out of play. So we're throwing on the southern wing.
They're really falling down, the Giants, with their contest in the air, but also at ground level. Then that last entry inside 50, they had Giants players sitting outside the 50. They need to push in and really make the Collingwood defenders and midfielders accountable.
Tom Green's having a roll in the ruck here as Darcy Cameron wins down the tap. Kelly dribbles a kick around the wing. Onto it. Ware links up with Bruin. Back to Ware through traffic. Got past Cameron. Hand pass to Kennedy. Tackled by McCreary. Couldn't link up with Kelly. A chance for the Pies. Lipinski to Sidebottom. To Elliott. Ran into a dead end. Back to Sidebottom. He links up with Hoskin Elliott half-back. Hand pass inboard to Nick Dacos. He has a fumble. It's not even raining yet. The pressure is immense as the Giants can't break clear. Lockie Ash is tackled by Steele Sidebottom. And all of a sudden we're in an arm wrestle in this second quarter. Collingwood leading by 15 points.
It's been a weird quarter, hasn't it? It's almost been a game of keepings off, but the last couple of minutes has just been fumbles and errors, and now it's a contested style pressure.
Cameron hooks it down behind Lipinski. His hand pass knocked down by Ware, close to the boundary line, and Josh Kelly sees it out. So throw in high half forward for the Giants.
Hasn't been one for the purists, has it, Corby?
No.
Just expected highlights from these two sides after the Giants' high-scoring spree.
Haven't had a goal in 15 minutes. Collingwood lead it by 15 points for the boundary throwing. Adams under pressure. Hand pass to Crisp. Can't pick it up at centre half back. Noble just ushers it out. Crisp also knocks it on. We're there for the Giants. Clean pick up. Hand pass to Cumming. He's gang tackled. Ball comes out to Lipinski. He's lost it. McCreary just bangs it off the deck. Soccers it 30 metres further afield. Up to meet it. Henry tackled immediately by Iden at half forward for the Pies. Coughed it up. Kennedy for the Giants. Hand pass to Davis. Kicks hurriedly down the wing. Turnover. Hoskin Elliott takes the intercept mark.
He looks wide out to right half forward. Spots up Maynard. In game 150, veers out onto his left-hand side. Long kick towards Mason Cox. Davis sets himself in front. And Adam Kennedy with a nice little shove there on Mason to move him out of the way.
Got away with one, didn't he?
Quickly out of defence to Tom Green for the Giants. Up to Lloyd at right half back. Had a sider early in this second quarter. Put it out on the full. Inboard to Toby Green, who's up the ground now. Looks out to Haynes. He marks it right half forward. Couple of shots in the first quarter for Nick Haynes starting forward. Sends it long looking for Hogan or perhaps Riccardi. But Maynard so good. Nudged Riccardi underneath and took another impressive mark for the Collingwood Footy Club in defence.
Let's see if the Pies can go from here. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. He shares it with Lipinski. Kicks out wide. Plenty of hang time in the kick to Sidebottom. Just on a little trot. Kicks down the southern wing. Finds Hoskin Elliott against the boundary line. Dropping back into the slow play. Time on second term. Collingwood by 15. We haven't had a goal for 17 minutes. Hoskin Elliott down to half forward. Taylor kills it out of bounds. Throw in 70 out from the Magpies goal.
The Traralgon Tigers been in touch on the SMS. G'day fellas. Just wondering how Sully's coping with the MCG now that he's been a resident of the north.
It's cold. And the window is open to the box here.
He's a little fresh. As Cameron palms it down for the Magpies. We're there though for The Giants, hand pass away to Ash. He shares it with Taranto, gives it to Ward. Run down. Tackled by the back of the jumper by McCreary. Drilled into the turf. Says ball up. And Bo McCreary, that's what he brings to the party. A bit of forward pressure. We've got a ball up, centre half forward for the Pies.
Thrown up, Cameron, one down the tap for Collingwood, but straight to Taranto. His hand pass, he's pinned, holding the ball. Don't think he got a hand pass away. A side bottom got him. And we'll take the free kick, 55 metres out from goal. Collingwood by 15. And a 50-metre penalty. Set against Tim Taranto on the mark. Seemed in.
I think it was off play. I think someone, might have been Elliott, might have been dragged going for a lead. I think it might have been Kennedy who pulled him away and giving up just a silly free kick, and now it results in a goal for still side bottom.
So to make a certainty of what was a free kick for Collingwood right on 50, and now still side bottom. He's taking his full 30 seconds despite, the umpires waved him play on. So from the top of the goal square, he puts it through, and Collingwood extend their lead to 21 points, but he's in animated conversation with the umpire saying, well, I'm allowed my full 30 seconds. I'm having a shot on goal, but he called play on.
So the umpire waved him to play, basically said hurried along, and he pointed to the scoreboard and said, I can see the shot clock counting down, I've got more time. And the umpire said, doesn't matter about that, move it on. And then eventually, as you said, rightfully called, Clinchy told him to play on.
So not exactly following the rules there, the umpire, but Collingwood 5-7-37 to the Giants 2-4-16. It didn't seem to bother Steele side bottom too much, who slammed it through for his first. So the Pies are the only 2 goals of this second quarter, and Steele side bottom now has a goal alongside his 19 disposals so far.
He's confused still, you know quite what happened, did he?
Where do we sit on that, taking his full... Is that...
I haven't really seen that before.
Watching a clock. He assumed he had time, right?
But he didn't really need the time. So is that a little too cute? Sort of trying to use his full 30 seconds just to...
Waste some time.
Yeah, almost bleed it off the clock. It's just bizarre.
That's his choice to make, isn't it?
Yeah, he wasn't afforded it on that occasion. Josh Dacos in the centre square, kicks out wide for side bottom, can't take the mark. Pack forms around Adams, umpire lets them roll, ball comes out the back door. Pendlebury, hand pass to side bottom, heads inside 50, Elliott leaping up, almost took a spectacular chest mark, falls down to Ginnivan, hooks it goalward, he's offline. And behind to Ginnivan. Collingwood by 22 points. Time on second term.
So the Pies all of a sudden kick the last 5 goals of the match to lead by 22 points. The Giants need a response up. They kick the first 2. Cumming brings the Giants back into play. Short to Canelio. Hand pass out to Ward. Ran into McCreary. No way forward. Who's got him with the jumper ripped off. Had him almost bamboozled as the jumper covered his head. And that's the ultimate insult to injury for a player like Cal Ward, who's so tough. And McCreary got him flush. Out at left half forward, he kicks long inside 50. Myercheck sets himself, had a fly, Taylor with a fist onto it. Josh Dacos can't run onto it a couple of metres out from goal. And it's through for a minor score. Collingwood by 23 points, 25 minutes gone, second term.
Coming on the kick out, low trajectory drop punt, skids its way through to Adams of the Magpies. Hand pass back inside 50. Ginnivan tackled as soon as he got it. Hand pass back into dispute. Tom Green can't get a kick away. Taranto sockers it off the deck. Maynard though there for the Pies. Hand pass to Hoskin. Elliott from the wing kicks it into the forward pocket. Myercheck competes. Elliott threw his boot at it, trying to soccer it through from the forward pocket. He missed it. It's out of play.
Port Adelaide, the opening 2 goals against the Gold Coast Suns. 2-1-13 to the Suns yet to score. Opening 7 or 8 minutes there at the Adelaide Oval.
It's going to be a great game. We'll take you there for the concluding stages from the boundary throw-in. Keith wins it down for the Giants to Ward. Hand pass back into the hot spot. Elliott got it out to McCreary. His handball a turnover. And Cumming just jams it on the boot out of defensive 50. Hogan competes in the air, spills down to Kelly. Giants keep possession, hands it to Taranto. His hand pass knocked down by Adams, kicks inside 50 but turns it over. Ward takes the intercept mark inside defensive 50.
Wants to kick long to the southern wing where he spots up Whitfield. He takes the mark, has to push back behind his mark. Nick Dacos just held him up. The kick for Taranto won't get to him in the middle of the ground, and Taylor Adams takes a good mark An intercept mark in the middle of the MCG. Looks up towards half forward. Henry offers a lead. He puts it out in front of him. Himmelberg can't spoil it. Great kick. Ollie Henry has it in the middle of the MCG, just inside the centre square. Myercheck on the lead, spoiled away. Taylor got back. Whitfield back into defence for the Giants. Switches play. O'Halloran marks in the right back pocket.
Former Vic Metro captain in his under-18s year, Xavier O'Halloran. I hear the Metro boys are on track this year, Murph. They've got some great guidance in their camp. There's a long kick from O'Halloran, goes down the wing, and Quaynor takes the intercept mark right on the bell. Must be said, a pretty lacklustre second quarter comes to a close. Collingwood kicking 2 goals to zip in the turn. We had a period there where we went 18 minutes without a goal, and Collingwood have kicked the last 5 in the game. GWS with the first 2. So the Giants 2-4-16. They trail Collingwood 5-9-39. It's the Pies by 23 points at half time. The goal kickers, we have 2 for Jamie Elliott and Brodie Myercheck, and then 2 for Elliott, 2 for Myercheck, and then 1 to Sidebottom. Meanwhile, for GWS, Hogan and Whitfield have their 2 goals, but they went goalless in that second quarter, which is remarkable given they kicked 100 points last week. They're averaging 110 a game under Mark McVeigh, and yet they couldn't manage a single score. In fact, not just goalless, but scoreless in that second quarter.
The thoughts of Brad Saul and Mark Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Bit of a fizzer second quarter, wasn't it, Murph? We were looking forward to another belter after the first, but it fell away. But not through a lack of effort for either side, I think. The pressure around the contest, tackle intensity for both sides was pretty strong. I felt like they sort of both just fell down going forward.
Yeah, I made mention of the Giants trying to go forward across the centre-half forward line, and it was probably one or two things, whether or not it's the Collingwood defenders intercepting the ball really well, but we just weren't seeing a really strong contest in the air from any of the Giants players, and Hogan's probably not that type where he's a real big man and out body. He's more of a lead-up sort of forward and get back and get you out the back. So whether or not they need to change things up in terms of personnel, Harry Hildenberg's probably the obvious one. Obviously, their leading goal kicker going up until the point of Mark McVeigh taking on, and Harry's been terrific in terms of his work off the half-back line, but maybe just to try and generate that contest around the centre-half forward line, and someone of his sort of class up forward is always going to be handy. So whether or not Mark McVeigh pulls that rein at half-time, we'll wait to see. But the general stats are pretty even other than the clearances. Collingwood are 17-11 up against the Giants, and inside 50s, Collingwood are up 31-24. So the Giants have still had their opportunities. I know they didn't score in that second quarter, but they missed opportunities going inside 50 by some of their premier ball users as well. I think Whitfield probably missed a couple of opportunities to hit the target. It only missed by a metre or two, but that's the difference in getting a mark inside 50 and an easy shot on goal. So it was certainly a lacklustre second quarter. Let's hope that the second half is much better.
The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell, your experts on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling on the action, and Jess Webster down on the boundary. Earlier, Adelaide winners by 57 points over North Melbourne, 17-13, 115 to North Melbourne, 8-10, 58. And at the Adelaide Oval, it's Port Adelaide 3-1-19, leading the Gold Coast Suns yet to score. We'll take you there at the completion of this game. But for the moment, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. A meeting of NATO leaders in Spain will be attended by the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. Australia isn't part of the military alliance, but the PM will travel to Madrid after being invited to the forum as a partner, given the Australian government's support for Ukraine. Mr Albanese will also take up an invitation to visit France for talks with President Emmanuel Macron as part of efforts to repair damaged relations in the wake of the cancelled submarine contract. Protests are continuing across the United States against the Supreme Court's controversial overturning of the historic abortion rights won for American women nearly 50 years ago. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has hailed the court decision which allows individual states to ban abortion, which many Republican states are already moving to do. Speaking at a rally in the state of Illinois, Mr. Trump said that while in office he delivered on a promise to appoint judges to the nation's highest court who would uphold conservative values.
The court handed down a victory for the Constitution. a victory for the rule of law, and above all, a victory for life.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is appealing to allied nations for more help after the fall of the city of Severodonetsk to the Russian army. Ukrainians were forced to retreat after weeks of fighting that has left the city in ruins. In his nightly address, Mr. Zelensky says the war has entered a difficult phase. He says air defense systems that allied nations have in storage are desperately needed.
This confirms that sanctions packages against Russia are not enough, that Ukraine needs more assistance with weapons, and that air defense systems, the modern systems which our partners have, should not be on their sites or in storage, but in Ukraine, where they are now needed.
The new chairman of the Commonwealth, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, has defended his commitment to rights and freedoms. The BBC's Anne Soy reports from the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in the Rwandan capital, Kigali.
Who defines the values? Replied the president when I asked him about the criticisms directed at his government and how he would lead the Commonwealth as its new chair. He blamed the West for being the cause of the challenges his country had faced. He was referring to the genocide of 1994, in which more than 800,000 people were killed, profiled along ethnic lines that had been defined by the former colonial master, Belgium. Asked about the opposition leaders and journalists who had been sentenced to jail, he said no one was in prison who shouldn't be there.
SA Health has reported nearly 2,000 new infections of COVID-19, but no further deaths from the virus. There are 1,996 cases with just under 16,000 active cases in South Australia. There are 216 people with COVID-19 in hospital. 9 are in intensive care. New South Wales has recorded another 7 COVID deaths. Meanwhile, COVID hospitalisations have risen to 1,465. 48 of them are in intensive care. There were 7,461 new infections reported. Victoria Police have found a vehicle they say was involved in a shooting of a former bikie in Melbourne's north yesterday. Phil Johnson with the details.
Armed Crime Squad detectives have found the vehicle used as a getaway car after yesterday's shooting at Fawkner. A 30-year-old former Mongols bikie member was shot multiple times as he was driving away from a funeral around midday in what police say was a targeted attack. He's in hospital in a stable condition. The shooters, who were wearing balaclavas, crashed their car while fleeing, then carjacked another vehicle threatening a woman and her young son. Police found the carjacked vehicle at Epping around 10 o'clock last night. Police are appealing for any witnesses to come forward.
The New South Wales government says a raft of changes to the HSC are aimed at developing more job-ready graduates. Husseiniya Shams reports.
The reforms are part of the state government's push to modernise the HSC, which the Education Minister Sarah Mitchell says hasn't been changed in 25 years. It includes the option for students to study multiple vocational subjects and still receive an ATAR. Currently, students are limited to one vocational course if they want an ATAR, but the changes mean they can choose as many as they like, provided they include English. The state government will also launch a pilot where students will be able to complete more HSC exams online. The changes are set to be delivered by 2025.
You can get more news from our website at any time. Just head to abc.net.au/news.
When I'm 90.
Teenager's going to be riding hoverboards probably.
When I'm going to try and break a world record, I would get people to do all my work.
You know, I'd want to be in a movie. The next Chris Hemsworth.
I would love to have at least 78 grandchildren.
At least 5 grandchildren.
What's the world going to look like? I don't know. I don't know if I want to know.
I reckon we'll still be best friends when we're 90.
Happy birthday, ABC.
Yours for 90 years.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Noble, right half forward, kicks close to the boundary line for Henry. Can he juggle it inside? He can. A little topo to the goal mouth. Mychet's going to finish the work on the goal line. Brodie Mychet with his second. Taranto, his hand pass, he's pinned, holding the ball. Don't think he got a hand pass away. A side bottom got him. And we'll take the free kick, 55 metres out from goal. Collingwood by 15. And a 50-metre penalty. Steele side bottom He's taking his full 30 seconds despite, the umpires waved him play on. So from the top of the goal square, he puts it through.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Just the 2 goals scored in that. Collingwood lead by 23 points at the main break. They both came the way of the Pies. 5-9-39 to the Giants. 2-4-16. So after the Magpies led by 6 points at quarter time, a goalless second quarter for the Giants. It's the Magpies by 23 at the main break. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Minimas call the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. And Brad Sewell and Mark Murphy are your experts on ABC Sport this afternoon. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Now the match at the Adelaide Oval. Opening quarter there, it's Port Adelaide 3-3-21, leading the Giants 1-1-7. So we'll take you to that match at the completion of this game at the Adelaide Oval. So the Power, having got back into finals calculation, looking to try and keep the wins going against the Suns, who are very much in a similar position, trying to keep their finals hopes alive. So goals to Georgiades, Dersma and Farrell for the Power, and Levi Casbolt, the goal scorer for the Suns. Meanwhile, earlier today, it was the Adelaide Crows winners by 57 points over North Melbourne. 17-13, 115 to the Roos, 8-10-58, with Taylor Walker kicking 6 goals, and the highest score for Adelaide and the biggest winning margin since 2019. So Matthew Nicks will be feeling a bit more happier about that result than probably what David Noble would be feeling at North Melbourne. Just the 1 win so far for the Roos, and I know the tackle count caught your eye as well, Corby.
It was 80-odd to 54, so 57. 57's above league average, so the average tackle count is 54 a game. So the Roos were above that, and yet Adelaide just completely monstered them in that area, playing 86 tackles, I think it was. The result's significant because it moves Adelaide above GWS, so they're into 13th spot on the table. You probably wonder why that's significant. It means, obviously, if the national draft was tomorrow, they would have pick 6, but Clinchy, it puts them within 1 game of Port Adelaide. So we know the whole Adelaide-Port Adelaide thing. So as bad a year as the Crows are seemingly having, they're just 1 game behind Port at this stage of the season. Obviously, Port Adelaide have a chance to make that gap too. They're in action, obviously, up against the Gold Coast at the moment.
And they, of course, face each other still one more time this season. So Collingwood leading by 23 points at half-time. Expected this sort of from coming through on the SMS line. Rachel from Ballarat asking, should we either bring in a sin bin as rugby or a red card for dangerous play? I would love to see the pie vendors back at the MCG. Well, on a cold day, a wet day, I'm sure people would prefer that rather than leaving their seat. But, of course, the Tom Stewart incident against Dion Prestia. We haven't heard from the match review officer yet. Normally that comes in, what do you reckon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock? A little bit later. I've asked Corby Wright as he's halfway through eating a donut. That was cruel, wasn't it, Merv?
Yeah,
that was really nasty.
There's a lot of jam
going over it,
slipping out of that donut at the moment.
Or perfect timing, depending how you look at it.
That was a nice little square up from the second quarter. And Grant says, hopefully the ABC has flown Andrew Moore and the team to Perth for the big game. I'm not much of an NRL fan, but he is a fantastic caller. I think we'll get a bit of strikes and likes it tonight. Big day for the NRL team. They've been on action since midday, and the game doesn't start till after 7:30.
So from midday?
I think so.
Wow.
That's my understanding. That's a big lead.
It's a big building, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's every player and every angle covered, I would have thought, in the lead up to Game 2 of the State of Origin tonight with Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis, Matthew Elliott, John Gibbs, and your little mate Benny Cameron's going to be there, so looking forward to hearing Benny as a part of the call team as well. What do you think we're going to get in the second half? I mean, the Giants made it a dour affair in that second quarter. They've been so attacking under Mark McVeigh, so I'm sure that's not exactly the game style in which he would want, but you were debating as to whether they look at moving maybe Harry Himmelberg back forward just to try and provide another forward avenue.
Yeah, look, the first quarter they played a really good brand of football. They were trying to stretch the Collingwood team defence by width and length, and they were hitting 45 kicks and getting some good overlap run and getting the ball out the back, and they probably had an opportunity to be two goals up, really, because Haynes sort of missed those 2 pretty easy opportunities, and they had a few other kicks inside 50 which just missed that would have, you'd sort of marked them down. I think Lockie Whitfield made mention of him before half-time about missing a couple that he's easily one of the better ball users who would usually hit that every day of the week, but he missed a couple of those. But the second quarter was probably a tough watch, wasn't it? It was kick the ball around, and then it got into a real fumbly sort of precious type sort of game So look, the second half, it's starting to rain now here at the G, so hopefully they start to get a bit more yardage on some of their balls, the Giants. I think Himmelberg might be a good opportunity to maybe stretch the Collingwood defence and go forward and just a different look. And Mark Vey's obviously come in with a new style and given some guys a new role to play in the back half of this season. And Harry Himmelberg's been terrific down back, but he's such a star up forward as well. So you'd obviously like to have two of him, but it's I don't think it'll be missed as much as maybe the opportunity of going forward and maybe hitting the scoreboard.
I saw Lee Matthews, and Murph was down at training during the week speaking to the Collingwood players. Does that stuff actually work or inspire the group, or does it aid performance in any way, or is it just a nice little extracurricular sort of insight into a legend of the club?
I don't think it hurts. Different voice, and I mean, to hear Lee Matthews speak in person, regardless of the context, I think is pretty special. So he's obviously got a huge history with Collingwood. So yeah, I think it doesn't hurt to hear that different voice. Certainly,
we actually got him in 2011 before the finals campaign, and he's got a huge aura around him. Lee, obviously, and a lot of the young guys probably have never really seen him play, but obviously you hear the stories of Lee Matthews, and he spoke to the playing group for probably 10 or 15 minutes, and then guys had an opportunity to ask questions. It's always, you're probably not going to get 4 or 5 things out of it, but whether it's 1 or 2 things that you can take into the preparation of the week and the finals campaign, or whatever Lee talked about, the history of Collingwood, they're always great. It's always great to hear from some champions of the game.
Does it happen often? Do you have motivational speakers or even former players come and address the group?
Oh, it doesn't happen often because you probably lose the impact, don't you? I suppose you're probably more dealing with your assistant coaches and your senior coach, and from a week-to-week basis. But I think it's important to get, whether it's someone who's been involved in football or a different sport, or maybe it's a business background who's a great leader in their own right. I think it's always important to get, whether it's 1 or 2 people throughout the year, that I think it's important for probably more so the leaders of your football club to try and grow themselves as well in their leading capacity. I think I always really enjoyed having a guest speaker come in and sort of being armed with a few questions of finding out what made them so successful over their period.
He's still a board member, isn't he, at the Lions?
Brisbane,
obviously carries the aura of being one of the greatest players, but I guess Craig McRae quotes him a lot, so it'd be interesting to hear from the man himself when he gets the chance to address Collingwood. And it would be fascinating if we get a chance to chat to someone from Collingwood after the game. We might ask them what he had to say down at the Pies.
Yep. It was not even more so about Lee, but just in general as to how often that happens and whether you actually get a kick out of it. Or I imagine that it would depend on the individual too. There'd be some guys sitting at the back thinking, "Oh, can we just get out of the club today?" And there'd be other guys,
another meeting,
as you said, sort of geeking out, thinking, "I want to sort of take it as much as I can get." And I'm sure you would have experienced everything in your time, Murph, both the good and the bad.
Yeah, and I think we had some great speakers come and speak to us. I loved Mike Hussey came and spoke to the boys, and I was a big cricket fan and loved watching Hussey play for Australia. And I think most Australians loved him, representing the baggy green. He was always really energetic and always seemed like everyone just loved him. He was obviously one of the nerds, maybe Corby of the side. So I loved hearing from Mike Hussey over the journey, and Lee Matthews obviously was another one. So I think it's always good to hear from some champions of sport or wherever they are in their own right. But you always pick up on 1 or 2 things from them.
Mark Murphy and Brad Saw, your experts on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action, and Jess Webb's down on the boundary. The players just making their way back out, and we're only a few minutes away from the second half getting underway at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide 5-3-33 leading the Gold Coast Suns 2-3-15. We'll take you there at the completion of this game. So the rain has sort of been lingering around. It'll be interesting to see if it sets in the second half.
It feels like, Clinchy, we touched on it earlier, that there'd been sort of grey clouds all day. I would say that's almost black, the clouds that are rolling in at the moment. So it looks ominous that if it ever looks like it's about to bucket down, we may just be a few moments away from that.
Jess Webster's down on the boundary. Jess, we've got our fingers crossed for you. Neither medical subs required as yet.
No, both sides have a clean bill of health to start this second half. But just on that rain cloud, it's coming over it. And like Corby said, it looks pretty much black. So I'm just waiting for the heavens to open down here at ground level.
Thanks, Jess. Cheerio to Grant and Kerry, who are listening to us from Western Australia. And, of course, don't forget the best of ABC, wherever you get your podcast from. A chance to catch up on Sunday AFL footy with Corby, Lauren Arnell and Chris Johnson today. Great to hear Chris Johnson back as a part of our feature programs. And, of course, the lead, the ABC Sport Daily. You can get it all there at the best of ABC Sport.
Corbin and Ben.
I was just about to promote that one. Monday and Thursday.
From 5 p.m. and tomorrow at Murph in his usual slot to break down the weekend of footy.
Players are in position. Second half about to get underway. It's Collingwood who hold a 23-point advantage. Here's Corbin Middlemass to get us underway on ABC Sport.
Umpire Nick Brown holds the yellow Sharon in the air. And we're set to go for second half action. Collingwood by 23 points. They've kicked the last 5 goals of the game. Crooked bounce. Hump says play on anyway as Darcy Cameron swats it down. Spills to Cornelio. Hooks a kick to centre half forward. Darcy Moore diving after it. Can't get a hand on the footy. Haynes collects. Hand pass to Toby as he slips over. Gives it to Riccardi. Slick hands to Bruin. Trickles a kick to the goal square. Side bottom back again. Saving the day last line. Hand pass to Murphy. Tumbles a kick to half back. Moore just taps it out to Pendlebury, and the Pies away off the back flank as he hits up Elliott, still at half back.
Looks to work it around the southern side. And the mark's taken by Lipinski. As Josh Dacos running past boundary side, gives him the hand pass, comes inboard for Cameron, just pulls in the mark. As Tom Green trying to get there late to make an impact. Darcy Cameron has it at left half forward. Not any real urgency to move it inside 50. Nick Dacos runs around the back, ignores that, sends it long into the pocket. Myercheck off his chest. Davis could have almost fell in the back. Jamie Elliott front and centre. He snaps and misses on the left to the left-hand side. Opening score of the second half of behind. Collingwood lead by 24 points.
Sully, we talk a lot about, obviously, in this job with the spectacle, the way the game looks. How aware are you as a player as to what kind of a game it is? Or are you just so locked in that you're not aware of, I guess, how it presents for the neutral?
No, you can certainly feel how scrappy it might be. Pressure, unforced errors, turnovers, those types of things.
Himmelberg on the kick out, drives it long to the wing, so Bruin has it, and he's wrapped up, taking the ground, a ball up on the southern wing. Certainly the scoring has been at a premium. The Giants' last goal was at the 11-minute mark of the first quarter. We're now a couple of minutes into the third. From the stoppage, the Giants racing away with the footy. Whitfield kicks down to half forward, and Nick Haynes, who's playing up front on Moore today, takes the mark, chips it into the pocket for Toby Green, and into the hole goes Braden Maynard. He cops one on the way through from Toby, takes the mark. Back pocket for Collingwood. And immediately goes long to a contest out at half-back. Cameron involved. Spills, though, to Whitfield of the Giants. Taps it to Cornelio. Hand pass away to Kennedy. He's 60 metres out at centre half forward. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Murphy throws his body at it. It spills through to Maynard again. Hand pass to side bottom, and he comes out a defensive 50.
Turned it over as Ware has it. Out left half forward for the Giants. Looks at a couple of options. Puts it in the direction of Toby Green or Haynes. Haynes can't take the mark. Moore spotted it late. Tom Green front and centre. Snaps on his right and's got it. Just the right side of the right goalpost. And the Giants' first goal since the 11-minute mark of the opening term comes inside 3 minutes to start the third term. They're 3-4-22, trailing Collingwood 5-10-40, but a positive start to the second half for the Giants.
It feels like the Giants have started each quarter in a similar fashion with plenty of opportunities, and this is one of the first times they've actually made the most of those opportunities with a clever snap goal from Green.
Well, they've had 2 good clearances, so they've probably got touched up in the first half. They were 17-11 in the clearances. They've sort of injected Cal Ward back through the midfield off the half-back flank, which is where he was playing in the first half. And then they just had a few in-out-in plays there, and just Green found himself in a really good spot, front and centre, where all good midfielders should go, and finished off really well.
Collingwood by 18 points, 9th goal of the year for Tom Green. He's played all 14 games this year for the Giants. Keefe wins it down in the middle to Ward. Squeeze the kick out to half forward. Toby Green tracking the footy with Noble. Back pedals, collects, goes with a short kick, knocked down by Crisp. Centre half back for Collingwood. Pendlebury knocks it back to Crisp. Hand pass to Adams, can't take it clean, was taken out anyway. Advantage applied. Crisp links up with Noble, heads down to half forward. Henry slides in, can't trap it. Ware back pedaling forward the Giants. He's wrapped up by Chug, taken to ground. Umpire says play on. Now it's Ginnivan who's locked up by Davis, and the umpire says ball up. Right half forward for the Magpies. Collingwood to the city end in the third term.
Tossed up quickly. Cameron and Keefe. Cameron knocked it down towards Elliott. He somehow extracted it. Hand pass trying to get it back to Cameron. Keefe got a touch onto it. Sliding and coming. It comes out to Tom Green. Kicks up to the members wing. Riccardi's had a quiet afternoon. Got an awkward bounce there. Picked up by Maynard. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Myercheck trying to get a run at it. Spoiled away by Taylor. Straight to Adams. Open goalmouth. Dribbles it across the face and into the left goalpost. Had the open goalmouth. Just couldn't quite finish. The Giants trailing by 19 points.
Would have been a perfect kick in dry conditions, but grass a little bit greasy, just went straight on rather than getting that little curl, which usually happens on those dribbles.
So coming with the kick out, spots up Himmelberg. Half back for the Giants. Floodlights on, thick grey clouds above, still no rain. Good news. Himmelberg goes long down the wing. Pack of three fly for it. More over the back. Spills down to Nick Dacos of the Magpies. Looks into the corridor. Superb kick. Finds Adams. Dishes off a hand pass to Maynard, who's into the front half. Kicks into the pocket. Henry backpedaling takes the mark. And Ollie Henry reads it best despite the efforts of Himmelberg. Backpedaling late. And Ollie Henry can snap here in the left forward pocket. Teenager who doesn't need too many touches to make an impact. His brother with a match-winning goal at the other end last night. Here's Ollie Henry, the teenager, bends it across the body beautifully. And Collingwood say right back at you as they answered GWS and their first goal of this second half. 6 minutes into the third, Collingwood by 25, 6-11 to 3-4.
Well, two of Collingwood's finest teenagers involved in that last passage of play. Nick Dacos, only obviously first season of AFL football, but just the composure, not just to bang the ball long out there on the far side of the wing, and just to have the nous to look inside and hit Taylor Adams, who was standing there all by himself. GWS had all the numbers down there for the down the line contest, but just a smart to look inside and back his leg in and hit that kick. Just opened up the whole ground, and Ollie Henry gets on the end of one.
Voice of Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. So Collingwood immediately answer the Tom Green goal. 7 minutes gone in the third term. Back in the middle, Mason Cox into the ruck against Keefe. One down the tap, beautifully to Adams, who gets the clearance. Kicks inside the 50. Here's Henry again. Spoiled down by Davis. Chug tries to get a hand pass to Ginnivan. The two long sleevers combining, and Chug stuck on the bottom of the pack. Can't knock the footy clear. Isaac Chug, the Tasmanian on debut. The fourth Collingwood debutant this year. Cox down to Adams. Kicks towards the goal mouth over the head of Ollie Henry. And Phil Davis takes the mark for the Giants. 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Back in the Giants side for the first time since round 2. Kicks for Iden. He just pulls in the mark. Backpedaling in front of Jamie Elliott.
Toby Green, after 7 last week, hasn't kicked 1 in the game. The Giants have only kicked 3 for the whole afternoon. 6-11 to 3-4. Pies by 25. Iden long down the wing. Maynard, who's been excellent, punches it away. Tom Green, hand pass to Canelio, pushes off 2 tacklers, gives it to Himmelberg. He's locked up by Chug. The Giants have lost it. Ginnivan, hand pass to Josh Dacos, tackled as he kicks. The ball skids off his boot and slides through for a behind. Collingwood 6-12. GWS 3-4. Pies by 26.
Probably had an opportunity to hand pass it over to McCreary, who would have run into an open goal then, but it's good pressure in the end from the Giants.
Coming with the kick-in duties, straight down the middle, finds Himmelberg, returns the hand pass to him as he runs past, kicks off the outside of the boot to Ash. It's a dangerous kick. He's tackled by Adams. Footy stuck to his chest. There was 3 Collingwood players around him. So had it come loose, Collingwood certainly would have been heading back inside 50. Thrown up. Cox once more and Keith. Cox again, another good tack. Down to Ginnivan, long towards the goal mouth. Jamie Elliott, Knight, and Phil Davis back with the flight. Punches it through for a minor score. Back towards the goal mouth, and there's a couple of Collingwood players slow to rise. Jamie Elliott, Brody Myercheck. Pies by 27.
It's not every day you see a D50 exit by the use of a banana, do you?
It's a gutsy kick, wasn't it?
It's ambitious.
Brad Sawler, Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the footy. Jess Webster on the boundary as Himmelberg plays on from the goal square. Hand pass out to Taylor. Kicks down the southern wing for the Giants. Hand on it from Lloyd. Can't reel it in. Spills to Noble. Again, Collingwood trap it in their front half. Kicks across the ground to Adams. And of course, started his career with the Giants, playing 31 games for GWS. He kicks out wide to Howe. Bright yellow boots on today. Turns 32 on Wednesday, Jeremy Howe, so celebrating a birthday this week. He heads wide to Hoskin Elliott. Sticky hands. Hangs onto it despite the pressure from Whitfield, wide out at left half forward.
Take some of his best work to kick it from here.
Doesn't look confident, and he's just going to sit it up to the top of the goal square. They all miss it. Bounces on its point into the open goal. Chug missed it. Had a look. Spills to Josh Dacos. He can't bend it through either. Behind. Chug had a fresh air shot trying to kick one on debut. And Nick Dacos, who swooped on the loose footy, unable to capitalise either. Pies by 28.
The Giants quickly bring it long out of defence. Lloyd has it at right half back. Looks up to the wing towards Toby Green. Awkward half volley. Gathers. Howe gathers him. Has to get a hand pass clear to half forward. Collingwood have numbers. Pendlebury onto it. Tackled by Cornelio. Didn't get a clean hand pass away. Taranto slides in. Got it to Lloyd. To Toby Green. Back to Cornelio. On 50. Chips it over the top. And Hogan marks on his chest. Deep in the right forward pocket. For a second looked at options in the corridor, but now he'll have to go back and have the shot on goal.
Well, it's just great work rate in the end by the Giants. They just formed something out of nothing by just the pure fact of just rushing the opponent, putting pressure on. Green involved in a couple of contests and Caniglio as well.
Kicked the opening goal of the match, Jesse Hogan. Kicked goals in all but 2 of the matches he's played this season. That's a good strike from deep in the right forward pocket and something for the Giants to build on. Jesse Hogan with his second, and the margin is cut back to 22 points Collingwood's way. 6-14-50 to the Giants, 4-4-28. 11 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Pies have dominated, but we know, given the way the Giants play, they can score quickly. And it just feels like if they can just hold this momentum, keep surging the ball forward. Green's had very little impact. He can get involved in the play a little bit more. This game's not over.
They probably look their best when they are just getting it in almost like a hack ball forward, aren't they? Because they do have some really good one-on-one players. I think that when they've found it hard going forward, they've worked the ball up slowly, and the Collingwood mids and wingers have worked really hard and formed that outnumber. So when you can get the ball in quick and give guys a one-on-one chance, got some great one-on-one players down there in Hogan, Green, Taranto.
Up to 18 goals for the year for Jesse Hogan as Cameron grabs it out of the ruck and he's tackled immediately. Ball up alongside the centre circles. Collingwood by 22. 10 minutes into the third from the restart. Elliott, hurried kick to centre half forward. Himmelberg lost Henry and then takes the chest mark. Centre half back for GWS. He just pulls the trigger straight down the pipe. Toby Green hits up, takes a strong mark. In front of Jeremy Howe. Toby inside the centre square. He's going to kick long as well to the top of the goal square. Haynes and Hogan, they both fly for the Giants. Spills down in front of Nick Dacos. He's tackled, held without it. Free kick for the Pies teenager. And he's going to take the advantage quickly. A hand pass to Noble, who swings his kick to half-back for Howe.
Works it up to Chug, who marks on his chest. The Collingwood debutant, who gets a warm round of applause for the black and white faithful. Hand pass to Sidebottom, trying to be too cute around the boundary line for Lipinski, and Tom Green takes the intercepting mark. Giants win it back, centre of the members' wing. Had Taranto inboard, now realises that. Chips it to him on the 45, inboard further still, and Cornelio takes the mark. Wants to come into the corridor. Spots up Kelly. Hand pass to Cumming. Had to awkwardly throw it on the boot. And Noble was waiting for that kick. He takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. Switches play out to Quaynor at half back.
Off the back flank, plays on immediately. Nick Dacos wants it short. He hits up. Ginnivan trying to slide in, can't take it. A half volley pick up. Pack forms around him, comes out the back door. Nick Dacos lends a hand, shoots a fast hand pass past Noble, his intended target. Noble into the back of Lloyd, and a free kick for the Giants. And Daniel Lloyd in a bit of a scrap with John Noble, who'll get the free kick. 70 out at right half forward. Collingwood back at the MCG in their first home game after the bye. The last home game was the big freeze match, the 8th edition, of course, against Melbourne on Queen's birthday. As Lloyd goes short to Cornelio, and Cornelio pokes it inside 50. Hogan was caught wrong-footed, and Murphy takes the intercept mark for the Magpies. There's still plenty of blue beanies when you look around the MCG, so nice to see the big freeze beanies. Clinchy still out among the Magpies faithful today.
You see them all around Melbourne, don't you? The
Yeah.
beanies. It's a great cause and well supported by the Melbourne community.
Quaynor down long, low, side bottom, couldn't take it. Haynes put a fair bit of pressure on and resulted in a throw as Howe trying to link up with Moore. So Nick Haynes has it at left half forward, just outside 50. Hogan wants it in deep, so Haynes wheels up, puts it towards the teeth of goal, needing a fly. Taranto shoved Moore underneath, but Collingwood have the numbers. Hand pass to Murphy, out of defence, a laser kick that found Darcy Cameron. He marks it right half back. Collingwood by 22 points. Sends it up towards Josh Dacos. He marks on his chest. Has Mason Cox, and Kinnaman racing back towards goal. Puts it towards Big Mason up against Himmelberg. Himmelberg juggles the mark. Timed his jump superbly and now rolls the dice into the middle of the ground.
Dangerous kick. Hoskin Elliott drops in front. Can't take the mark, but it spills to Pendlebury. The Collingwood skipper finds Ginnivan. Centre half forward, he takes the mark. Man on the mark, 45 metres out.
Unfortunately, Himmelberg undid his good work in that contested mark and then just tried to bite off too much and inside the corridor and went for a kick that probably wasn't quite there. Probably could have used the width player before going to that man inside. It's always a hard one when you're going for that inside 45 kick over about 30 to 40 metres because the hang time always entices the defender to come forward and intercept.
The popular Collingwood teenager, Jack Ginnivan, goalless once this year and not today. Through it goes. Ginnivan with his first, and the Pies back out by a game high. It's Collingwood by 28 points. 17 travelled, third term on Grandstand AFL.
You know, when Pendles gets the ball around the arcs, something generally results in a goal. A little bit of time and space. Lowered his eyes, and Ginnivan. How do you say it, Murph? Ginnivan. There it is. Ginnivan presented well. He's hard to miss too with the blonde locks bobbing around.
I dare say Love is obviously, he's come to the bench at the moment. He's one of those blokes that keep the goal and just go, I wouldn't mind just getting a little bit of a clap from the supporters along the boundary line, and came off with a bit of a smile on his face then.
Doesn't mind the theatre of the sport and playing his role in that as he's on the big screen at the moment. Bounce back in the middle. Riccardi's gone in the ruck against Cameron for the Giants. Tap down towards Pendlebury, can't get a disposal away. Trying to sock it off the ground was Cornelio. That was almost dangerous. Josh Kelly fights for it. Collingwood through. Cameron picks it up. Hand pass out in front of Nick Dacos. Pitch by O'Halloran. He charges forward to 50. Hand pass inboard. Links up with Hogan to Taranto. They're lining up to Cornelio. He snaps on his right and finishes a good team goal for the Giants. Right back at you. As the Giants kick an important goal to answer back after Collingwood stretch it to a 28-point margin. The Giants 5-4-34, trailing Collingwood 7-14-56. The margin back to 22 points at the 18-minute mark of the third term.
Cornelio finished with the goal, but it was O'Halloran off the wing that made the impact there. Split both Steele, Sidebottom and Dacos as they both tried to wait for the other to approach the ball. O'Halloran bodylined the ball straight through. Terrific attack.
Clean below the knees, wasn't he?
That's something we've seen a great deal of. Patches today.
At the Adelaide Oval, a couple of goals to the Suns. They're 4-6-30, trailing Port Adelaide by 4 points, 5-4-34. So setting up for a good second half there. We'll take you there after this match.
Up to 98 goals, Steve Cornelio. Only 6 players previously have kicked 100 goals for the Giants, so he's closing in. There's a free kick here in the middle of the ground. It's going Pendlebury's way, so centre break for Collingwood. Kicks out to Adams. He shoots a hand pass out to Josh Dacos. Steadies on the run. Misses. Near side. They've left a few out there, the Magpies. 7-15 to GWS 5-4. Collingwood by 23 points. 19 played in the third.
Himmelberg brings the Giants back into play. Long kick towards Taranto, who ragdolled Noble and got rid of him before the ball was in the area. So gave away the free kick and Noble will take it. A set play for the Giants. Noble veers out to the right, sends it inside 50. Henry looks to fly. Iden in front, juggles the mark. Held his ground well. Was able to keep his concentration to hold the mark. Looks out to right half back. Puts it in the direction of Lloyd. Up goes Quaynor, spoils it out of play. Much to the Collingwood fans' delight. A boundary throw in at left half forward. The Magpies by 23.
I'm not sure I can give them the excuse of pointy balls today, Corby. They look quite inflated for me today, just judging by the from the box here anyway.
So who's responsible for the skill level? All
just
on the players. All on them. Jeez. Not long out of the game, Murph, and already turned on the playing cohort from the boundary throwing. Socket forward by the Giants. Off the deck by Cornelio. Out to meet it is Toby Green. He's in a wrestle for it, and the pack forms, and the umpire says ball up. Nathan Murphy done some fine things today. Locks it in for Collingwood. Pies by 23. Ball up, attacking edge of the centre square for the Giants. Cameron palms it down to Adams. Shoots a kick up into the front half. Myercheck and Taylor chasing out after it. Sammy Taylor gets there for the Giants. Hand pass to Iden. Sweeping hand pass to O'Halloran. Little fumble. Pressure from side bottom. Collingwood back on it. Chug mode down. Great tackle. Sam Taylor never gave up on it. And wins possession back, defensive side of the wing for the Giants. Collingwood by 23 as we tick into time on in the third.
And at the Adelaide Oval, Isaac Rankins put the Suns in front by 2 points. Ooh. Taranto comes inboard, spots up Ash, has it in the middle of the MCG, wants a poker kick over the top to Adam Kennedy. He has players laterally but wants to go more direct. He winds up, sends it into the right forward pocket towards Whitfield. Howe came late. Made up so much ground late and spoiled it down. 1-2 with Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass away to Josh Dacos. Kicks up to the southern wing. Cox and Iden. Big Mason takes the mark directly in front of him. Veers out onto the right. Long kick inside 50. Henry and Taylor. Taylor got hands to it. Ginnivan gathers. Hand pass to Myercheck. Back to McCreary. Collingwood on the break. McCreary puts it up into the third tier. Right up into the nosebleeds. And Collingwood with great transition in which Mason Cox played a crucial part. Able to extend their lead back out to 29 points. 8-15-63 to the Giants. 5-4-34. 22 minutes gone, third term.
Well, yeah, obviously kicking the ball inside 50 is the real money kick in football, and the Giants missed their opportunity. Howe was a great intercepting play, and from their half-back line, the Pies, they just outworked and outran and end up kicking a really easy goal on the back of Mason Cox, winning a really good one-on-one contest and getting the ball in long and deep.
So importantly, a great mark by Cox, but was his role in getting the ball in quickly into genuine 2-on-2 contests. And it was Ginnivan with a really quick handball over the top that effectively created that goal.
It's Clinchy called up into the top tier as well, so put them right up the top. Jamming it through on the goal line by McCreary. New game high, 29 points, Collingwood's lead. Middle of the ground, Kelly tried to get a kick away off the deck, but straight to Crisp. Racing away with it, kicks to Hoskin Elliott. He marks 60 out at centre half forward. She surely caught the tangle with Kelly, no 50. Kicks to Mason Cox anyway. And Cox comes out to meet it and take the mark 20 metres out, just right of centre.
Well, Taylor Adams has been fantastic in this third quarter, and again winning another hard ball on the inside and feeding his teammates. But great kick by Hoskin Elliott. Big Mason Cox, he loves these from 25-30 out.
Mason Cox, with his Australian citizenship during the week, he moves in and misses. Gee, everybody was ready for that moment with Mason to kick one, and he can't believe it as he's chewing on his mouth guard, hands on his hips. Up behind, Collingwood by 30, time on third term.
He's an Aussie now. We got him. It's Aiden Grott with the game. Long kick from Himmelberg out of defence. Cox spoils Hogan, and it goes out for a boundary throw-in. How important for his confidence was that one-on-one, do you think, Sully on the wing? Do you think takes the mark inside forward 50?
Huge, but they're actually they're so much kicking the ball on top of his head, they're putting it in space so he can run onto it. That's what makes him so hard to spoil.
Thrown back in, Cameron knocks it to the back, the side bottom kicks off the outside of the boot, down low for Elliott, couldn't take the chest mark. Himmelberg on the last line, back to Taylor, to Phil Davis in the back pocket, searching hand pass to Iden, wants to get around Elliott, he does so. Himmelberg not sure what to do, he dribbles a kick to Ward, he gives the hand pass to Kennedy, could have been taken high from McCreary, now he's under the pump, has to try and knock it clear, and McCreary can't burst away from Kelly and Tom Green. All of a sudden the intensity is lifted. Collingwood by 30 points.
It's a game high, time on in the third term as Cox grabs it out of the ruck, dispossessed. Himmelberg jams it on the boot, kicks into centre square. Cameron knocks it down to Noble of the Magpies. Hand pass back to Darcy Moore. Ships his kick to Crisp, still in the centre square. Short pass to Lipinski, reels in the one-hander. Lipinski, 55 out, kicks wide for Jamie Elliott, who takes the mark. Now channel it right half forward, and he'll shoot from just inside 50.
Intensity's gone up this game. Collingwood bring the heat, trapping the ball in their forward half, getting plenty of looks on goal.
They've just gone to another level, haven't they? The Pies, they look cleaner, more energetic on their toes, around the contest especially.
He's only a couple of metres in from the boundary line on his right-hand side. He kicked 3 on Queen's birthday against the D's. He kicked Collingwood's first 2 today. Jamie Elliott starts his drop punt out to the right, leaves it there. And behind. So Collingwood 8-17. GWS 5-4. Pies by 31 points. It could be a whole lot more. 26 played in the third.
At the Adelaide Oval, Mitch Georgiades has put Port Adelaide back in front by 5 points. He's got another shot on goal to try and extend that. We'll take you there to the Adelaide Oval after this game.
Gee, it's dark here.
Yep.
Looks like Armageddon.
Himmelberg brings the Giants back into play to Whitfield and short to Iden.
It's amazing we haven't had really any rain at all.
No.
Does that amaze you or just me?
No, it amazes me.
But not as much.
Not
as
the same level as probably it does here.
How much does it amaze you, Corby? Out of 10. What level of amazement?
Ware and Whitfield combine as Corby ponders that. Out to left half back. O'Halloran takes them up. You got an answer?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Okay. Up towards Ash. Had to wait underneath it a long time. And Noble comes through and punches it out of play. 4 or 5 rows back on the members' side for a boundary throw-in. Collingwood by 31 points. We've played 26 minutes in the third term. Pies have really led from the middle stages of the first quarter since the Giants kicked the opening 2 goals of the match. They've wrestled back momentum from that point onwards. Kelly from the stoppage, hand pass back to Kennedy, gets a hand pass to Keith, to Kelly on the wing, has to kick around the boundary line, that worked, not sure Ash was the intended target, he takes the mark though, looks up towards 50, he really only had Tom Green leading out, Darcy Moore slides in, takes the intercepting mark, retreats all the way back 30 metres to the top of the defensive goal square to Noble.
Chips to Dacos, back pocket, hooks a kick across the body, down towards Quaynor, under pressure, knocks it on beautifully. Hoskin Elliott sweeps a hand pass inboard to Nick Dacos. He kicks from the southern wing, down to Myercheck. Myercheck takes the mark. Taylor just losing it in the air. Myercheck moves it on quickly. Still at left half forward, Lipinski marks. He's about 60 metres out. Mason Cox is on the bench, sadly, as Lipinski just pokes it up towards Cameron. The other big man standing in the hole takes the mark, 20 out straight in front.
Well, the wheels look like they're falling off when you have a slow play outside 50 and you've got an uncontested mark by the key ruckman standing 15, 20 metres out directly in front. There needs to be some sort of body on him initially and then another player coming across to make that contest, but to have no one there, it's unforgivable.
Late in the third term, they've missed a boatload of chances already today, Collingwood. As Darcy Cameron moves in on the set shot, he pokes it straight through. Hot Pies. Collingwood by 37 points. A new game high. They move to 9-17-71. GWS 5-4-34. 29 played third term, Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell.
They're just getting outworked at the moment, aren't they, Sully? The last inside 50 that the Giants had, they had no forward really working really hard back towards goal to give them an option, and end up having to kick it really shallow inside 50, and then that just starts up the Collingwood offence from the half-back line. And then, as I made mention of that last inside 50 from Collingwood, to have no one standing against the ruckman, 15-20 metres out directly in front, it's worrying signs here for the Giants. They're already slipping a fair way behind the Pies here, and the Pies are really getting their game going. It's built up really across the contest, isn't it?
It's alarming. It's 17 inside 50s for Collingwood. They've had kicked 4-8, so look on goal every better than 2 entries.
Yeah. Cameron down to Pendlebury, couldn't get a disposal away. Toby Green tries to sock it off the ground, ricochets into an opponent, spills out to Hoskin Elliott, hand pass to Josh Dacos inside 50. Phil Davis set in front, takes the mark with Jack Ginnivan arguing he thought he had the jumper held. Davis 35 metres out from his defensive goal, looks up to the southern side, sends it in the direction of Jesse Hogan, up, got hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Mayno with a hand pass to Nick Dacos, to brother Josh, to Cameron, who kicks towards half forward as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. So 3/4 in the books, and Collingwood hold a 37-point advantage, 9-17-71 to the Giants, 5-4-34. And as Sully was making the point, Collingwood had 18 to 12 inside 50s in that quarter. They mustered 4 goals, 8 to the Giants, 3 straight. So after Collingwood led by 6 points at quarter time, by 23 at half time, they lead by 37 at three-quarter time. 7 individual goal kickers for the Pies, 2 to Myercheck and 2 to Elliott. The individuals to Cameron, Henry, Sidebottom, McCreary and Ginnivan. Meanwhile for the Giants, 2 to Jesse Hogan, individuals to Cornelio, Whitfield and Green. Three-quarter time at the MCG. Collingwood leading by 37 points. At the Adelaide Oval, it's Port Adelaide 6-6-42, leading the Suns 5-7-37. Approaching half-time there. We'll have you there at the completion of this game. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Nominations for your Australian of the Year
are now open.
It's time to reflect on your community
and who you admire.
It's time to show your respect
by nominating
and acknowledging them.
And it's time to celebrate
their story, their contribution,
and their generosity.
I'm Hamish McDonald, and I'd love you to nominate an inspirational Australian who you think is worthy at australianoftheyear.org.au.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Where has it? And left half forward for the Giants. Looks at a couple of options. Puts it in the direction of Toby Green or Haynes. Haynes can't take the mark. More spotted late. Tom Green front and centre. Snaps on his right and it's got it.
Dangerous kick. Hoskin Elliott drops in front. Can't take the mark, but it spills to Pendlebury. The Collingwood skipper finds Ginnivan. Centre half forward, he takes the mark. Jack Ginnivan, goalless once this year and not today. Through it goes.
Collingwood through, Cameron picks it up. Hand pass out in front of Nick Dacos. Pitched by O'Halloran. He charges forward to 50. Hand pass inboard. Links up with Hogan to Taranto. They're lining up to Cornelio. He snaps on his right and finishes a good team goal for the Giants. Josh Dacos kicks up to the southern wing. Cox and Ike. Big Mason takes the mark directly in front of him. Veers out onto the right. Long kick inside 50. Henry and Taylor. Taylor got hands to it. Ginnivan gathers. Hand pass to Myercheck. Back to McCreary. Collingwood on the break.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. It's Collingwood by 37 points over the Giants. 9-17-71. To GWS 5-4-34. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. The thoughts of Brad Sewell and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, the Giants are probably lucky to still be in this game, such as the dominance of the Pies in that quarter. As I think Clinchy touched on before, 18 to 12 inside 50s. But more damning than that, it was 4-8 to 3 straight for Collingwood. So 12 scoring shots off the back of 18 inside 50s. That's a horrible statistic for the,
it's huge,
for the Giants.
That's huge. If you're having 12 scoring shots a quarter, you're going to kick a big score, and they've been obviously inaccurate today, the Pies, but they've been basically winning the contest, haven't they, around the clearances. They're sitting at 25 to 17. They've always had their nose in front today in that area, but their balance on the outside, I think, is what's really got the Giants have sort of invested heavily at the contest of Giants and probably haven't turned their heads quite quick enough. And the Pies have been able to win it at the coalface and then dish out and use the numbers around the ball. And when you're getting that many inside 50s and that many score opportunities from that, it's going to be obviously pretty difficult for the Giants. But I thought Taylor Adams certainly led the way in that third quarter around his work at the contest.
It's just grunt, isn't it? He's when he's working hard contested ball-wise in around the contest, generally that means for Collingwood the ball's going forward, played in their half. Still side bottom with 24 disposals up until three-quarter time. Braden Maynard, 21. Nick Dacos, 21 at 100%. Am I reading that right? 100% efficiency?
Yep.
That's he does use it well, doesn't he? And Taylor Adams there, 20 disposals along with Will Hoskin, Ali at three-quarter time. And for the Giants, Himmelberg, 24. Canelio, 22. Cummings, 20. Green, 17. Giants have got some work to do, Corby.
Just got to throw caution to the wind, don't they, and just have a crack at going through the corridor and really backing themselves in. I know it's probably not the way in which they want to play all the time, but when you're staring down the barrel of a loss anyway, you may as well go down swinging.
Thoughts of Brad Saul and Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL off the SMS. Great call, guys. Hot pies everywhere from Grant in Dongra, which is in the northern suburbs or north of Perth. It's in Western Australia. Okay. Beautiful place. So shout out to Grant. And ABC Sport, not much happening in Perth, Corby? Well, it's still. So your shot at Perth, someone's thought that was me saying that, which I'm in trouble with my own people. As a native
I was having a shot at Perth, but not really. It's more just having a shot at you.
Need to direct that to Mark Murphy. Jess Webster's on the boundary. Jess.
Yeah, just watching Nick Haynes a little bit during that last quarter, also at the three-quarter time break. Firstly, he's back into defence, so Giants have made that switch. But the doctors have been having several chats with him. He copped a really heavy knock. I think it was in the second quarter. The trainers went out to the ground and spoke to him, and they did so again when he came to the bench in that third quarter. So a bit of a watch this space, I think.
Thanks, Jess. This is Grandstand AFL. We've got a quarter to come here at the MCG. Collingwood playing to go to 7th spot, equal on wins with Sydney in 6th if they can prevail here. They're up by 37. Final term underway. Steve Canelio dishes off a hand pass to Whitfield. Kicks to centre half forward, and Kelly reels in a juggled mark. Front edge of the centre square. Puts a floater inside 50 onto the chest of Riccardi, who takes the mark. He leaps up and he's got it 20 metres out.
Well, those two genuine floaters in a row. One from Whitfield that just genuine bellied the ball. And Josh Kelly, I still think he meant to kick it to that spot, but
not spinning like that.
Didn't quite spin the way in which he probably would have thought. But should be a good start here for the Giants if he can put this one through.
This is his first kick of the day. He's had 3 hand passes. As the rain starts, Jake Riccardi dobs it. Giants get the first of the final term. His first kick of the day is a goal, but it's 45 seconds into the last. GWS 6-4-40, Collingwood 9-7-71. How are you doing down there, Jess?
Yeah, the heavens have just opened up. It's absolutely teeming down, and I think I might have to make a run for it, guys. It's absolutely pouring.
Get out of there, Jess. Toby Green starting into the centre bounce again, as he did for the very first one of this quarter.
So this is what it was like all morning. It bucketed down when I got to the MCG today, Clinchy, and just after 11:30 there was puddles on the side of the ground and in the concourse and out the back, and it's threatened to rain all day, and it is chucking it down at the moment.
All the fans are running to the aisles to try and get under some cover. Back in the middle, Himmelberg doing the ruck work against Cox. Comes down Adams' way. Hand pass towards Pendlebury. Kick partially smothered, but it dribbles out to Whitfield of the Giants. Gets the hand pass to Canelio. Needs a runner going past. Hand passes it back to Whitfield. Squeezes the kick towards 50. Quaynor in front. In the heaving rain, knocks it down. Himmelberg, hand pass to Cumming. Through traffic. Got it to Bruin. Squeeze the kick inside 50. Darcy Moore waiting for it. Hand pass to Murphy. Away to Howe. Collingwood's defence well set. High ball to half-back. No one there for the Pies. And sliding in, Tim Taranto takes the mark.
Taranto looks inside the forward 50. Hogan down there. Kick goes over his head. Spills back to Hogan. Hand pass a turnover to Darcy Moore. He gives it to Adams. Hand pass to centre half-back for Ginnivan. Pokes a kick out wide for side bottom to run onto. He kicks down the southern wing. McCreary his target. Ball goes out in front of him. Davis is tackled, dispossessed. over the boundary line and a throw in right on halfway. It's teeming down to start this final term. 3 minutes into the last, Collingwood by 31 points. Riccardi's kicked the only goal of the quarter.
It's always impressive, the parents that are prepared with the ponchos and they're staying put. Great commitment on a Sunday afternoon as the rain comes at the MCG. Toby Green up into the middle of the ground, kicks towards half forward. Riccardi, good pick up in the wet conditions. Hand pass to Canelio, looks inside 50. Hogan out, has he got it? Murphy's right there with him, couldn't take the mark. Tanner Bruin gets the hand pass to Kelly on 48, goes whack and puts it straight through the major opening. Classy finish from Josh Kelly, and all of a sudden the Giants have nudged a couple in quick succession. 3 minutes gone, final term, margin back to 25 points Collingwood's way. Off the back of the first 2 goals in 3 minutes coming the Giants' way. 7-4-46 to Collingwood 9-17-71.
Well, they started this last quarter with real presence and a real want to get the ball forward, and they've had a few big contests where they've hit the body and rushed the ball forward, so they still obviously believe they're a chance here. Kicking the first 2 in these conditions, maybe it might straighten them up, the Giants. It's been a great start so far. You can almost hear the sound of the ball off the boot from here, couldn't you? It was a great strike.
Beautiful kick of the footy. Josh Kelly, the left footer from out wide and half forward. 25 points the margin. Pies out of the centre. Socket by Pendlebury, then by Ginnivan. Lands in the lap of Henry. Runs into the open goal and hits the post. 20 metres out on the run. And Ollie Henry could have just taken some wind out of the Giants' sails. Instead, he jams it into the post. Collingwood 9-18. GWS 7-4, Pies by 26.
Kennedy straight down the middle for the Giants. Himmelberg can't take the mark. He does scrap for it though. Got it to Kelly, to Tom Green. Quick hand pass to Ware, to Taranto inside 50. He clears the pack, racing back. Darcy Moore gets a crucial touch to it. He denies Riccardi. Now the question is, was that deliberate? As Darcy Moore knocked it back through the goal mouth. Oh, in greasy conditions, that seemed a tough call. What do you reckon? Was that...
It's almost like he's the second touch for him trying to get the ball there's given the free kick away, but I don't understand how he can pay that.
So Riccardi puts through his second, and the Giants close the gap to 20 points. Collingwood had a chance at one end, couldn't capitalise. The Giants all of a sudden have kicked 3 goals to none to start the final term. 5 minutes gone, they're 8-4-52, trailing Collingwood 9-18-72.
I'm not sure what his alternative was there, more running back towards goal. If he tries to take that out of bounds, it's deliberate out of bounds. And I think you're right, Murph. I'm not sure if it was the initial kick or the touch over the line.
So the usual metric for the umpire is if you can't rush it out from any further out than the goal square. So if you're beyond the goal square and rushing it, so that's why Moore was hurriedly chasing after it. I thought he actually touched it again before it went through on the goal line.
That's why I think he's paid that one there, because the balls are probably 10 centimetres out and he's touched it.
That's a really stiff call. 20 points, Collingwood's lead. Giants with the first 3 of the final term. Collingwood just knock on, surge on inside the forward 50. McCreary hand pass over his shoulder to Adams, who stands up in the tackle. Ball comes out. Now it is locked back in. A ball up. 35 out from the Collingwood goal. Pies coming home to the punt road end. Umpire chucks it up. Darcy Cameron's held. A ruck infringement against Himmelberg. And a free kick for the Collingwood big man, 30 metres out, directly in front.
Oh, it's not a lot of that. Himmelberg's given away the free kick. I think Cameron had the front position, and has he played a hold on him? Has he?
Yeah, must have. Yeah, holding. There we go. The advantage of having a ruckman against a key defender in your forward half of those stoppages.
So 3 quick goals for the Giants to start this final term. Just to steady the ship. Darcy Cameron moves in. Big fist pump. Got it. Couple for Cameron. And the Pies take some air out of the Giants' balloon. All of a sudden, it's back to 26 points the Magpies' way. 8 minutes into the final term. Collingwood 10-18-78. GWS 8-4-52. Brad Saul is with Mark Murphy.
Well, it was an important goal just to stem the tide. The Giants have been coming. They've started this last quarter really really good fashion. They've been really good around the contest, but that one almost puts it to bed, being a 26-point ball game now. It's going to be pretty hard for the Giants to probably kick. You've got to kick 5 to win it from here, and they've kicked 8 for the day, and it's they're certainly backs against the wall, but they're going to keep on having a crack, the Giants. They've got no other option, so they'll be having a crack through the corridor at all costs.
Is that another good game, Darcy Cameron? 16 disposals, a few clearances, and now a couple of goals. Interesting, Graham Wright telling us before the match that Brodie Grundy had picked up COVID during the break, so he was still 4 or 5 weeks away.
It's a really good ruck combination now with Cameron and Mason Cox, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting to see how Brodie Grundy fits into it.
No clearance from the ball up with Elliott and Taranto on the bottom of the pack. Cameron wins it down, taps it to Lipinski, kicks towards half forward. Big Mason Cox over the footy, can't pick it up. Tom Green can, stripped of it by Crisp, kicks inside 50. Myercheck up, can't take the mark. Taylor backwards under pressure, turn it over, pinched by Ollie Henry, kicks towards goal. He's got it. Just the opening the dangerous small forward needed. And Ollie Henry kicks his second, and Collingwood perhaps slammed the door shut. 32-point leaders, 11-18-84 to the Giants, 8-4-52. 9 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Just a good bit of football now, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's got bright future, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Really exciting for Collingwood. He plays tall, really strong in the air, but it's quite dangerous on the ground as well. It'll be a difficult player to match up on. Very athletic.
He's one of those players who doesn't need a lot of possession, does he? So he's a mercurial type of player and makes something out of nothing, and that certainly was that then. Just intercept the handball and just read the play really well and turn around and throw it on the boot.
Now up to 20 goals for the year, Ollie Henry, 23 for Ginnivan and 28 for Myercheck. So 3 players, 20 plus for the Magpies as they come out of the middle. Crisp, the 1-2 with Elliott. Jack Crisp on the run, gets rid of Iden, shoots goal, and he's offline.
Too far.
Oh, the shot won't even count. A treble call from the umpire, and as a result, free kick for the Giants at centre half back. We don't see many of them paid.
It's 50.
And then on the mark, Henry's in the wrong spot. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt, and Davis takes the free kick for the Giants. So no change to the score. Collingwood by 32.
I saw Matt Cottrell get paid one yesterday. Often the case, you see 2 in 2 days, and can't think of the one you saw before that. Josh Dacos sockers it towards Pendlebury at half forward. Was able to get around Ware. Hand pass back to Dacos. Hard against the boundary. Sends it towards Cox and Henry. Punched down by Davis. Onto it, Jamie Elliott. He's been in the right position all day today. Hand pass back to Lipinski. To Josh Dacos on 50. Cuts around Whitfield. Gets to the right forward pocket. Long to the teeth of goal. Davis couldn't get a hand to it. Chug almost on the goal line. Tried to soccer it through. He missed it. And it goes through for a minor score. Collingwood by 33 points at the 11-minute mark of the final term.
Should have done the right thing by his name, Josh Dacos, and have a shot from there rather than being unselfish and put it to the top of the square.
Isaac Cumming goes long, straight down the pipe. Hand on it from Cameron of the Magpies. Spills to Pendlebury. Collingwood come up with it. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. The 1-2 with Murphy, and then the kick out to brother Josh. Marks on the southern wing. Short pass down to Lipinski. High half forward. And the range just eased up. Pies by 33. Lipinski into the forward pocket. Myercheck down there with Davis. Myercheck hangs on to it. Strong contested mark in the forward pocket for Collingwood. He's a little sore as he makes his way up.
Just caught napping there a little bit, Davis. Ball watching, allowed Myercheck to get in. Initiate body contact early. Did the work. Protected the ball drop. Really clever mark.
Myercheck's okay. Whatever niggle it is, it goes away when you get a chance to have a shot at the big sticks. He's 40 metres out, pressed up against the boundary line, drop punt. It's a little skinny, misses to the near side. Pies by 34. They've kicked 20 behinds. Collingwood 11-20 to GWS 8-4. 31 scoring shots to 12. Pies by 34 points. 12 minutes into the final term.
Isaac Cumming brings the Giants back into play, touches the footy on the deck as he charges out of defence. Long down the middle, Himmelberg, Green, Toby Green flying from the side. Himmelberg will get a free kick for a hold as everyone streams past him in the middle of the MCG. Has Riccardi out wide, will go shorter than that to Kennedy. Still inside the centre square.
We can't go long because Collingwood have all flooded back hard.
Jeremy Howe's the loose in defence, waiting for the long bomb. He sends it right in that direction. Get ready to fly as Howe decides to spoil in the end. Down towards Taranto, socket by Sidebottom. Oh, into the post goes Murphy. The right behind post, it hit the post. And Murphy gets slowly to his feet with plenty of encouragement.
Oh, it's dangerous.
I'm not sure what he almost impaled himself on the post there, and had Darcy Moore not been penalised for a deliberate one, I think he was trying to help his teammate steal Sidebottom, but that was reckless.
Collingwood by 34, boundary throw in. Bruin, slick hands to Toby, shoots goalward, misses. Hasn't kicked one today, Toby Green. He had 7, of course, last Saturday night. Behind here, Pies by 33.
I hope we didn't ruin the pre-game preparation with Stevie J on the interview.
I'm sure we'll hear about it. Darcy Moore long out of defence towards Mason Cox. Flies in from the side, palms it down. Lipinski worked off it. Gathered by Taylor. Free kick for a hold going Collingwood's way. And Pat Lipinski will take it at left half back. It's been a good pick-up, the former Bulldog. Traded for pick 53. After playing 56 games in 5 seasons for the Western Bulldogs. Career best averaging 24 disposals for the Magpies. Short to Pendlebury. Around the boundary line. Ginnivan marks on his chest. Uncontested. Gestures he's in no hurry to move it, and he's not going backwards. Turns onto his right. Drives a long kick towards Henry and Myercheck. In from the side, Cameron. Down in front, Tom Green gathers for the Giants. Hand pass to Iden. Squeezes the kick into the middle of the ground. Toby Green gathers. Hand pass out in front of Lloyd. Needs to pick it up cleanly. Gets the hand pass away to Ash. He's got nothing inside forward 50. So turns and kicks it backwards 25 metres. And Whitfield takes the mark.
Collingwood by 33. 15 played in the last. He goes back to Haynes, who spent the day in the forward line. He marks here at centre half back. High bomb to centre half forward. Toby Green hitting up, takes a nice mark. He's 70 metres out. He's going to kick long to Hogan. One out in the cage. Hogan's got it. With a mismatch on Quaynor. And he marks on the behind line.
It's a perfect kick. There was 3 other Collingwood defenders all flooding back and sitting in the space. And Green just put it over Jesse's back left shoulder and let him work his way into some space.
Hogan outside of the right boot, bends it through. He's got 3. The Giants are a long way back, midway through the last. Collingwood 11-20-86. The goal to Hogan takes the team to 9-5-59. Pies by 27 points, halfway through the final term.
I've seen glimpses from the Giants, this free-flowing, quick ball movement. It's a taxing style of play, very difficult to do for 4 quarters. They obviously haven't got that defensive part of their game set yet, off the back of the coaching shift, it would appear.
The voice of Brad Saul with you on ABC Sport. At the Adelaide Oval, it's Port Adelaide leading the Gold Coast Suns by 5 points at half-time. We'll take you there at the completion of this game for the second half. And earlier, Adelaide 57-point winners over North Melbourne in a game in which Taylor Walker booted 6. Back in the middle, Cameron wins down the tap against Keefe. Little toe poke from Adams, gets it towards Lipinski. Hand pass picked off by Whitfield. Can't get a clean hand pass away. Adams sockers it inside 50. Ash gets back for the Giants. Hand pass to Taranto, back to Ash. Through the middle of the ground. Hand pass to Tom Green. Taranto had a fumble as he received it back. Regathers, kicks towards 50. Spoiled on by Josh Kelly, but the Collingwood defence is set. Moore picks it up. Hand pass to Quaynor, blazes away towards half-back. It bounces in front of Taranto. Sidebottom tries to race after it. He's able to get a fortunate tap on as it's worked 1-2 between Josh Dacos and Sidebottom down the southern wing. Works it to Henry, can chip it inside 50. All on his own, Jamie Elliott.
Well, they've been so impressive today, the Collingwood defence, and the midfielder's been working back really hard and creating the outnumber, and Collingwood just played it really smart there and just kept on using the free.
Kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, Jamie Elliott. After missing 5 games with a shoulder injury, up to 10 goals for the season. On 4 occasions, over 30 goals for the Magpies. So a crucial cog in what could be a push towards a return to September. from just inside 50 out to the right. Elliott gets close to the man on the mark. And just the wrong side of the right goalpost. And a minor score. Collingwood by 28 points. 18 minutes gone, final term.
Dare say they'll be going straight at the guts here, you would think.
Coming, just draws Chug on the mark and then pulls his kick out wide for Iden.
The last 5 or 6 all have been. I'm with you, Murph.
Iden.
You could have just made up that it didn't go wide, Corby.
Goes wide to O'Halloran. Links a hand pass out to Haynes, who kicks to half forward. The mark's taken by Himmelberg. So Himmelberg and Haynes switching in this final term. Hand pass to Cornelio, short kick to Lockie Ash. Everyone's getting a spin in a different role, and Ash marks at centre half forward. He'll kick from just inside 50.
Well, the Sting's certainly gone out of this one. I think there'll be a few blokes looking forward to the final siren, but still a few opportunities to kick a few more goals.
Lockie Ash pick 4 in 2019, a pick behind Luke Jackson. Lockie Ash, low trajectory drop punt. He's got it there. Just over the fingertips on the goal line. And GWS coming home with a wet sail, but they've left their run late. 19 played final term, Collingwood by 22. Giants move to 10-5, Collingwood 11-21, and Lockie Ash has a goal.
They certainly have left their run late, but important not to completely throw the towel in. They've shown a little bit in this last quarter. They've been prepared to play it out. Collingwood, of course, have done the damage earlier in the day, and they just need to continually just chip in the pies, kick one every couple to keep the Giants at bay.
It's been another just even performance, hasn't it, from Collingwood? You look through their midfield, they all will get their 23 to 26 touches and all impact the game in quite a good way. So there's no real standout, is there, through there? They're all just playing their role.
Back in the middle, Mason Cox wins down the tap. Crisp with a little toe poke away from Taranto. Ginneman could have been pulled down, he was, when he didn't have possession. Taylor Adams is not too happy with some of the attention he was being given by Tim Taranto. They'll scrap for it. The umpire comes over and blows his whistle right in their ears, so that'll stop him. Jack Ginneman takes the free kick, and the 5 or 6 metres further from where he was impeded. Looks to send Collingwood inside 50, out to the left, looking for Elliott. He got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. With Nick Haynes right there with him. And it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in. Pies have got the Gold Coast next week, so that could be a crucial clash to shape the 8. North Melbourne back at the MCG in a fortnight's time, and Adelaide, so some winnable ones in their quest to return to finals action.
And the boundary throw-in, Cox wins the tap. Down to Whitfield, just bangs it out of the defensive 50. Moore has it knocked out of his hands. Ash had it, lost it. Spills to Quaynor. Kicks inside 50 over the head of Henry, and Davis takes the intercept mark. And immediately moves it on. Hand pass to Iden. Pies by 22 points, 21 played final term. Iden shares it with Cornelio, kicks down the wing. Quaynor intercepts. Southern wing as the rain starts again. Neither Medisub used. Trey Rusco and Callum Brown for the Giants, both of them in their first game of the year. Haven't seen any playing time as yet. As Moore from the Quaynor kick kicks long down the line. It's whacked out of play by Sam Taylor. And a boundary throw-in.
Both subs will probably have to do a running session post this, which on a Sunday twilight game when the rain's starting to come down and very cold, no doubt sitting on the bench. Certainly wouldn't be looking forward to that one.
That's not what you want. It's going to be 5 in a row for the Magpies, so the equal longest winning streak in footy, along with Geelong, both at 5 wins. And the boundary throw in, Taranto spun around, got a hand pass away to Ward. He links up with Whitfield, kicks to a 2-on-1 in the pack. Cornelio, it beats everybody over the boundary line. A throw in between wing and half forward for the Giants. Collingwood by 22.
Cornelio's been prolific again. He's at 27. Also kicked the goal.
6 tackles as well.
He's been amongst the Giants' best with Jesse Hogan, who's kicked 3, thrown back in. Mason Cox works it to the back. Crisp sliding in. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, can't take it cleanly. Tackle by Kelly. Footy stuck underneath those two. Umpire waits a moment or two and then forced to come in and ball it up. Giants have got the Hawks next week, so interesting clash given Hawthorn's loss back on Friday night. 2 rebuilding teams. Free kick Collingwood's way from the ball up. Nick Dacos takes the advantage, sends it wide to brother Josh. had never played in a game together before they arrived at Collingwood. Now playing in some of the biggest games. Josh Dacos sends it towards half forward. Unable to take the mark, Taylor spins out towards Steele Sidebottom, and he and Haynes see the ball out of play for a boundary throw-in.
Talked about the clearances today, and Collingwood obviously being on top in that area, but the hit-outs, 40-11, just put it in a really easy spot for their midfielders to get to the right spots and win those clearances.
From the boundary throw-in, it comes to Kelly, jams it on the boot up, over halfway, free kick. Hogan had his arms chopped. Sends a kick down to half forward. Himmelberg the target. Spoil comes from Murphy. Spills to Bruin though with the Giants. Hand pass to Kelly. Bounce a kick inside 50 to Ash. Hand pass to Kelly. Back to Ash. Kicks back into the corridor but turns it over. And Hoskin Elliott takes the intercept mark for the Magpies.
Well, Seagulls all of a sudden out there, Corby. What's happened?
Why does that happen? It feels like that happens all the time. Time on last quarter, Seagulls make their way in.
Those fake Eagles stop working after three-quarter time.
I think that must be it. As the Pies work it down the wing. Long kick from Maynard. No mark for Henry, but keeps his feet. Tackled by Davis. Whitfield ushers the ball out to Ware. So hurried kick to half forward. And Hogan's going to take a juggled mark. Ends up completing that almost on the wing. Pies by 22 and now 50. So Adams overstepping the mark, and Jesse Hogan's going to be marched.
Double,
This is double 50, yeah. After the conversation that followed, Adams had a bit of a word with the umpire who told him to be a little more constructive with his feedback, and so now he's going to go all the way to the top of the goal square.
He's been a bit angry in this last quarter. Taylor Adams had a bit of a dust up with Tim Taranto, and then the old double 50 there.
No one stands the mark. Hogan bangs through his fourth, and Collingwood's lead cut to 16. Just under 5 minutes on the game clock. The Giants with a big final term. They've kicked 6 goals to 2 in the quarter. GWS 11-5, Collingwood 11-21. They lead it by 16 behinds. 25 played in the last.
Still not out of reach. If they can kick a goal here under a minute, you never know what can happen from there. But 16 points is still every opportunity to the Giants.
It's somehow a game that's been over for a long time, but all of a sudden, if the Giants keep the next game back on, crowd posted at 30,804 in attendance. Saw on the monitor, Ian Botham was one who was in attendance alongside Eddie Maguire, so I'm sure it's the greatest showpiece of our game this afternoon. Canelio trying to bust his way clear, tackled by Pendlebury, toe poke to half forward for Collingwood, picked up though by Ware, gets it to Tom Green, straight down the middle. Collingwood have the numbers, Darcy Moore spoils it away from Lloyd, Hogan knocked it on to Kelly, kicks towards Toby Green out the back. He marks at the top of the goal square, races back, a chance to make it a 10-point ball game. He pops it over the top of the goal umpire's hat, and Toby Green has his first goal of the afternoon. It's taken a little while to get going, but all of a sudden, it's inside 2 straight kicks. 11-21-87 to the Giants, 12-5-77. 26 minutes gone, final term.
It's a great contest from Jesse Hogan. Moore got a great fist on the ball and was looking like he was going to take a secondary possession to mark it, and Hogan worked his body into Moore and was able to tap it forward to a teammate who Kelly ended up finding Green, and they're within 10 points.
How are we in this position?
Snuck up on us.
I think we'd all given up 10 minutes ago, hadn't we?
7 goals they've kicked in the last quarter. They've kicked the last 4 in 10 minutes.
Sully was talking about seagulls.
Amazing. They trailed by 32 points or 33 points at the 16-minute mark of this last quarter. And now it's a 10-point game. Collingwood get a centre break. The centre half forward. No mark, Myercheck. Cameron slides in. Davis at centre half back for the Giants. Hand pass to Cumming, high up and under, hits Pendlebury on the back of the box, spills to Himmelberg, he kicks into the front half, heavy collision, Riccardi collides with Murphy, but the Pies win the footy through Howe, kicks out to half forward, Myercheck first one there, spins, hand pass too hot for Cameron, and Davis can clear the defensive 50 for the Giants.
Crisp sits underneath it, but Lockie Asher from the side takes the mark, he needs options, as he doesn't really have much around the members' wing, so has to go laterally to Adam Kennedy. He plays on, looks up towards half forward. Toby Green will fly against 2 or 3. In front, Murphy brings it down for Collingwood. Noble over the footy, Kelly tackles him. The footy locked underneath them, and the umpire will ball it up at right half forward for the Giants.
So biggest lead was 37. They were 33 up, 16-minute mark of the final term. It's now a 10-point game.
Cox wins down the tap to Lipinski, kicks towards the boundary member's side. Sliding in Myercheck. The umpire says throw it in. And the controversial one to start the final term. Darcy Moore socketed it through for a minor screws outside the goal square, so it was paid intentional. The argument was, did he get a touch on it before it crossed the line? The Giants have kicked 5 goals in 11 minutes. Toby Green gets the hand pass away. Tom Green gets the hand pass to Canelio. His kick can't clear Pendlebury. And the Collingwood captain marks at left half back.
Just need to get a man here. The Giants, Collingwood are going to try and possess the ball and get uncontested marks and just drain the clock.
11-21 to 12-5. Giants with 7 goals in the final term. They've kicked the last 4. The Pies by 10. Pendlebury short to Noble, long down the line. Cox flew early, spills down to Hoskin. Elliott jams it on the boot, knocked down by Davis. Hand pass to Taranto, he's lost it. Now Lipinski held up in the tackle. And a ball up 70 metres out from the Pies' goal.
Collingwood just try and keep it in tight here and get repeat stoppages.
Himmelberg grabs it out of the ruck, just kicks it forward 40 metres along the ground. Here's Riccardi, hand pass over his shoulder, straight to Pendlebury. Sweeping Polyfarmer, hand pass away to Crisp. He gives it to Lipinski, looks back inboard. Cox puts his head over it, goes to ground. Pack forms around him. Kelly tries to get it out. There's a free for a push. Giants free. Advantage applied. Canelio off the back flank.
He pulls up almost like he was trying to work out whether he wanted the advantage. Switches play. Big ball to be won. Ware can't take the mark. He's impeded though by Josh Dacos. And we'll take the free kick at left half back for the Giants. Looks straight down the middle. Down low for Lloyd. He takes the mark. Veers out to the right. Has to roll the dice now. Long inside 50. Toby Green's there. Riccardi in from the side. Hogan in the pack. Pendlebury picks it up for Collingwood. Back to Murphy. To Hoskin Elliott in the back pocket. Kicks up to half back. Haynes and Josh Dacos. Nick Haynes punches it out of play. A throw in at left half forward for the Giants. Collingwood by 10 points. Half an hour gone in the final term.
With a 6-6-6 at the restart, there's still plenty of time for GWS. They'd want to get a move on here. Boundary throw in, 70 metres out from their goal. Cox palms it down. Canelio throws his body out at Pack forms alongside him. Another stoppage.
Just going to try and even the numbers here. The Giants, Collingwood are going to get back in numbers.
Ball up half forward for the Giants. Cox wins it down. Crisp jams it on the boot. Up to halfway. Cameron overruns it. Elliott goes in, sliding through Haynes. Ball knocked out of play. Umpire says spin that in. Boundary throw in. Collingwood by 10 points. 31 minutes into the final term.
Giants need 2 straight kicks. Thrown back in. Cox to do the ruck work against Himmelberg. Knocked down to the front. Kelly for the Giants gathers, retreats back by hand to Kennedy, off balance. Cox couldn't take the mark. Himmelberg just socks it forward. Noble over the footy, could have been taken high. He was. It was courageous from John Noble. Full attack on the footy, and in the end, the tackle from Steve Canelio just over the shoulder. And now still Sidebottom is in. And there's a bit being said as O'Halloran's in, and it's going to be a 50-metre penalty. As Ash has been down by Sidebottom. It'll come as no surprise. Jack Ginnivan's right in the middle of this as the umpire keeps backpedaling, and John Noble's going to be within scoring distance by the time he stops. Out to the right, he'll kick from just inside 50. Just kicked the 4 goals throughout his career, John Noble. Hasn't kicked one in season 2022. This would be a nice way to close out the night. He's going to take his full 30 seconds as the clock ticks down. 32 minutes gone in the final turn. Noble out to the right. Will kick from just outside 50. The defender comes in. He's pushed it across the face. Myercheck on the behind line. It's through for a minor score. And Collingwood lead by 11 points.
Straight down the pipe, Murph. Coming on the kick out, straight into the lap of Scott Pendlebury. Takes the intercept mark in front of the centre circles. He looks out wide for Quaynor, who takes the mark, and the Magpies survive the last quarter fight. A mid-season break from hell, but the on-field is going swimmingly. That's 5 in a row for Collingwood. They're a game clear in the top 8.
Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
It fell over really early in the third quarter. It was 37 points the difference at three-quarter time. GWS kicked the first 3 of the final quarter. In total, they kicked 7 goals to 2 in the last. They drew within 10 points. The Magpies able to navigate the last 5 minutes. And had they kicked straight, it would have been a wrap much earlier. Collingwood 11-22, 88. They beat the Giants 12-5, 77.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Remembering Collingwood lost 3 of their first 5 games to start the season, so they've actually won 7 of their last 9. On a 5-game winning streak, that's the equal best in the competition along with the Cats. Collingwood win here by 11 points. They led by 6 at quarter time, 23 at the half, 37 at three-quarter time, and that was a game high. And in the end, they close out by 11 points. Just the 2 lead changes, they both came in the first quarter. Collingwood by 11. The goal kickers clinchy, 2 for Jamie Elliott, Darcy Cameron, Ollie Henry and Brodie Myercheck, and then singles for Sidebottom, McCreary and Ginnivan. Meanwhile for GWS, Jesse Hogan kicked 4, more than any other player on the ground, 2 for Riccardi, and then singles for Cornelio, Toby Green, Tom Green, Lockie Whitfield, Lockie Ash and Josh Kelly. Pies up to 7th on the premiership table. They're behind Sydney on only percentage, but a game clear of the chasing pack.
The surprise packet for season 2022 under new coach Craig McRae, having only won 6 games last season. They have exceeded that already. 9 wins so far through 15 rounds of AFL footy. The Pies by 11 points. At the Adelaide Oval, a goal apiece to start the third term. In fact, 2 goals apiece. So Charlie Dixon's kicked his 300th goal. Casbolt and Ainsworth with a goal, and Todd Marshall with the most recent goal. It's Port Adelaide holding on to a 4-point advantage there, 8-8-56 to the Suns, 7-10-52. We'll take you there in around 10 minutes' time. The thoughts of Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, the Pies have done everything they need to do today. It's been obviously a big couple of weeks for the entire football club, obviously with what's been happening off field. So to come out here today, and I thought they were going to end up winning by 30 or 40 points, but they ended up hanging on, and it doesn't really matter how you do it in the end. But to get the 4 points after what's been probably no doubt a really exhausting couple of weeks for the entire football club, I think has been a real testament to their leaders at the football club, and they're currently in a circle at the moment, probably no doubt discussing what's been occurring over the last couple of weeks. And you can see Scott Pendlebury at the moment talking to the entire playing group, and no doubt touching on the experiences and the learnings out of what's occurred, and the best response about is putting a performance together that they have today and get the 4 points and end up finishing the round in 7th spot, which they're looking like a really strong chance of playing finals this year, especially over the next 5 weeks with some of the sides they're going to play. So a really important win for the entire football club.
So I'm sure a bit of that would be the last quarter. It's funny how the good players just find themselves in the right place at the right time. And as you predicted, GWS are going to go straight down the middle, and there's Scott Pendlebury marking on his chest. And that would be what gives Craig McRae confidence that he's got leaders on field, and at 34 years of age, there's still a role for guys like Scott Pendlebury, especially when the game gets close in the dying stages when it probably shouldn't.
Exactly, and you can't underestimate experience and players who especially a guy like Scott Pettenbury, obviously being champion of the game, and every time he gets the ball, there's no doubt that players around him just feel a bit more at ease. His composure, no doubt, rubs off on his teammates, and you find the good players always in the right spot, the right times, and going up the guts like the Giants did for most of that last quarter. He found himself in a good spot late in that game.
Still, Sidebottom also had a good game for him. His numbers haven't been as high as they have been in previous seasons, but in the wet, he thrived. 26 disposals, 18 uncontested possessions, 4 inside 50s, and a goal. So, I mean, you throw alongside Ollie Henry with his 2 goals, Darcy Cameron thriving in the ruck, Brody Myercheck with a couple. Do you see Collingwood making the 8 and competing this year?
Yeah, well, I just made mention of some of their games to come. They've got Gold Coast, North Melbourne, Adelaide, Essendon and Port Adelaide. So, judging by the way in which they've played over the last 5 weeks, you'd say almost all those you'd jot down as wins, because you played the type of football that they did prior to the bye against Melbourne and beat them quite well, and then to have what's happened over the last couple of weeks and come out here and perform really strongly. It's a real testament to the leadership at that football club and their ability just to focus on the task at hand.
And how's this, Corby? They just released a media announcement as the full-time siren sounds. Darcy Cameron will remain a Pie. He signed a 3-year extension. Did it while he was playing. That was even better.
Yeah, absolutely. How's that for an upswing? So not only the team wins 5 in a row, game clear in the top 8, and the big man's hanging around. So that's good news. I mentioned the winning streak. It's hard to string games together, Murph, in the competition, and I mean the rest of the form lines will tell you that. So the Gold Coast have a 3-game winning streak at the moment. They're a point up midway through the third quarter against the Power. Other than that, these are the 2 best win streaks in the comp. So Geelong on 5, Collingwood on 5, and most of the other teams in the competition are a win or loss here or there, and it's sort of hard to bring 2 or 3 consecutive results together. North Melbourne have obviously lost 12 in a row and Hawthorn 4 in a row, but it's a credit to them either side of the bye now to make it 5 on the bounce. And you mentioned that draw, so their next 5 all against bottom 10 teams until they play Melbourne in round 21. That's the next time they play a top 8 opponent.
Well, we don't like to go the early crow, but judging by all those matches they've got coming up, it's, to be 10 straight, they could almost go leading towards a real pointy end of the season. It's a great spot to be in, isn't it?
Well, they're a 9-win team, so even conservatively, they win 3 of their next 5 against bottom 10 teams, which you probably
12,
think it gets them to thereabouts.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like, I mean, we probably think, you said they probably start favouring just about all of them. Say they win 4 of them, they're on 13 wins, and it's pretty hard to keep them out from there.
The Magpies winners by 11 points at the MCG, 11-22, 88 to the Giants, 12-5, 77. Just a thought or two on the Giants. Murph, who started reasonably well with the first 2 goals, but really scrapped for a lot of the match until they came home with a wet sail, kicking 7 goals in the final turn.
Yeah, they basically didn't get their game going. Other than that, probably the first 15-20 minutes, they looked like they were really good around the ball. They were pressuring quite well. They were taking yardage when they needed to, and they weren't mucking around with the ball, and they looked quite good. They probably didn't make the most of their opportunities in front of goal early in the game. Made mention earlier in the call about Haynes missing a couple of easy opportunities. You don't know what that could have done for them to start off the game, but look, they finished off the game in a really good manner, but they were really poor throughout that second quarter, weren't they?
Let's join the Magpies. Here's Jess Webster.
A very satisfied playing group just walking into the rooms now. Plenty of applause coming from the family and friends. We've said it multiple times, but it's so great to see the family and friends back into the rooms. Plenty of hugs and smiles as well. A very satisfying win for this football club. They were made to earn it in the end by GWS, but the Pies are back into the 8. Scott Pendlebury, the captain, with his 2 little kids forming the circle. Mason Cox as well. Will Hoskin-Elliott as well with his 2 little children as well in the song. You always love to see that. The gathering now. Let's have a listen to the song. Collingwood winners by 11 points,
Footy clubs are funny places. Sometimes they go silent and they belt out the song. It's like the wooing in the Western Bulldogs song. Sometimes you're not really sure what's going on, but they seem to be enjoying themselves, which is the most important part. We'll try and bring you a quick reaction from the Collingwood rooms. We're going to head off to the Adelaide Oval, and for our listeners on News Radio, you're going to return to the network in about 5 minutes' time. So we'll get some votes from Murph in the ABC Footballer of the Year. But
did you used to start the da-da-da-da as the captain? Did you get that going?
No, I used to give it a little bit of I don't know, sure what you call it, a woo, like at end of one of the little verses. The boys used to enjoy. That was my little thing.
Your contribution.
But we brought in that no one was allowed in the circle, so the cameraman used to try and get into the circle, and blokes would try and shepherd them out. So we didn't want anyone involved in the circle other than the blokes who played in that game. So that was always quite funny seeing the cameraman get shepherded out of the way.
The Suns lead by a point at the Adelaide Oval, 9-10-64 to Port Adelaide, 9-9-63. So we're about to take you there very shortly. Have you given some thought to your votes? Are you happy to fire them off?
I have given some thought.
Did you realise you were doing the votes?
Well,
you're doing the votes.
I certainly am. I gave one vote to one of the Giants captains, in Stephen Caniglio. I thought he was probably their best for the day, along with Harry Himmelberg as an honorary mention. He had 30 touches, 1 goal, had 4 clearances. I thought he was easily the Giants' best. 2 votes to Steele Sidebottom, 26 disposals, 1 goal, 8 score involvements, and I thought he was probably easily the best player on the ground in the first half. So I thought he was fantastic. But the bloke who's just signed a new deal, I thought Darcy Cameron, kicking 2 goals and having 17 touches and 23 hit-outs, giving his midfielders first opportunity around the ball, was probably best on.
3 votes to Darcy Cameron. Jess Webster in the Collingwood rooms.
Thanks, Clinchy. Here with Will Hoskin-Elliott. It's a packed rooms. Plenty of family and friends here enjoying that win. GWS major earner in the end, but it must be satisfying to get the 4 points and you're back in the 8.
Yeah, it's awesome. The way we're playing footy this year, it's amazing to see the style going forward and taking territory, and the crowd is bloody awesome to have them back. The rooms are full, so it's really, really cool.
And you sung your song as well with your 2 little kids. I mean, how great is that moment to be able to have family and friends back into the rooms? We've missed it so much. You must have really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's awesome. They haven't been to the footy for a couple of weeks, so it's having me here to get the win, and it's really a family environment now. So yeah, awesome. Love that.
Playing some good footy at the moment. We might have time to head upstairs quickly for a couple of questions from our experts, Mark Murphy and Brad Sewell.
Will Murphy, mate, congratulations today. Obviously been a big couple of weeks for the football club. What was Scott Pendlebury saying after the game in the middle of the ground? Was he talking about the experiences of the past couple of weeks and the performance today?
He's more just talking around the playing out the 4 quarters. So the last 10 minutes we let them score a few easy goals where we should have put our foot down and finished off strong.
And Will, Darcy Cameron signed a new contract extension. Have you been impressed at how quickly he's come along with the responsibility on his shoulders?
He's really stepped up. Like he's always been a good ruckman forward, and now he's just taking it to a new level and absolutely loving it. So it's good to watch.
And Will, I noticed your record against your old mob. You'd only beaten them once previously in 7 attempts. So nice to beat the old team.
Yeah, it is. It's I've actually known about that the whole time. So it's really good to get the win from them.
And of course, all the Jordan De Goey circus which has been going on in the background. How much did that, I guess, weigh on the playing group leading into the game today?
We spoke about it early in the week and then sort of just put it aside and focus on training and getting right for the game.
Is it draining at all as a player, knowing that that's going on in the background?
Not really. Like I said, we spoke about it early and then just pushed it aside, so we'll probably address that when Jordy gets back.
And we're curious. Well, you had Lee Matthews down at the club. Can you remember too much of what Lethal had to say?
He's a very experienced man, and like I was more in awe. They put the stats of his accomplishments, his accolades on the board, and I was just like more in awe of that. So I was sort of concentrating more on that than what he was saying. So it's pretty bloody impressive.
Absolutely. Good win today, Will. Good luck against the Gold Coast Suns next week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Will Hoskin-Elliott joining us just briefly before we head to the Adelaide Oval, where the Power are back in front, 10-10-70 to the Suns, 9-10-64.
Did he sense our urgency that we were off to another game?
I think so, yeah.
It was brief.
Quick answers.
Yep.
He played his role, didn't he?
Yeah. Absolutely.
He knew what was happening.
There was nothing long-winded there.
No, there wasn't. So Mark Murphy's votes in the ABC Football of the Year, 3 to Darcy Cameron, 2 to Sidebottom, and 1 to Cornelio. Tim from Wodonga wanted to know whether the Giants should be playing a more recognised ruckman. Briggs is a better option than what they tried to do today with Lockie Keith. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I think the combination of Collingwood's ruckman, I think, are right up there in the competition at the moment. The way they're both playing, Mason Cox and Big Darcy Cameron, they've been fantastic. But they're always going to have a tough day playing against those two rucks.
Thanks, Murph. Thank you to Brad Saul. Thanks to Jess Webster. Thanks to Stuart Hollywood Baker and to Craig back in the studio. Collingwood winners by 11 points. Colby, you're always here, so you always do a good job. It goes without being mentioned. The Pies with their 9th win of the season. They're back inside the top 8. They take on the Gold next week, and the Giants have got the Hawks. For our News Radio and New South Wales and ACT listeners, you're returning back to the network. Don't forget State of Origin tonight. For our local radio AFL audience, you're heading to the Adelaide Oval. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Rod Jamison, Ebony Marinoff and Liz Walsh. From the MCG, enjoy the rest of your night.